Hello and welcome to the show. We've had another important close for LivePerson, now managing to get that ninth day of 10 closing back above $1. Should it do tomorrow as well, that would be it escaping the delinquency notice. In order to get another, it would need to finish below $1 for 30 consecutive days. That would be highly unusual if it was in a positive trend and making moves to the top side. One of the ways that you would judge that is across various time frames, and the highest that you might pay attention to would be the monthly. It's also the start of a new month. Welcome to August. And so we're going to take a look at LivePerson on the monthly chart and see if it tells us anything different from that which we're already aware of, yourselves in particular, being members. Everybody who's able to chat in the chat box is a member of the channel. Hello, Barry Basuba. Is it yourself? No, it's Bait Buckets and Tainted Shrew. The legend that is Tainted Shrew. Good to see you, buddy. So this is that monthly chart. There's this channel. Now, I've drawn it as a channel, but there's various ways you could look at it. If you were to take this trend line across the top, you could say that we've touched it on the wick. The body closed, finished back within this speculative channel. Only 2 touches underneath, some people might say, in which case very hard to justify that formation as it is. And potentially you'd be looking at it as a downward sloping broadening wedge across the top side with those lines there. Again, question marks about it because you've only got 2 touches, and my philosophy on TA is 2 touches aren't real. Various ways of looking at it, but I don't particularly care about the downward looking support line. So on the monthly, it's not managed to escape this trend. It has put in an interesting candle here in July, in that it made its way back above $1. And the month closed a very significant high, considering the close here back in April. Close in March, open in April, in at around those levels, and close in July back above there is significant. Below, you don't have any confidence really that this is a reversal formation until such times as price is back above $283. That would also be touching this 382. As you can see, the Rocky Outcrop toolkit has laid out the important Fibonacci for us here from the all-time high to this most recent low here. We've also got price trapped below a 236. That comes in at around 1.49. And if it is that this month closes back above 1.49, then maybe you'd be looking at this thing come up and test $10, an important horizontal level looking across the charts then. Back above, I'll drop them on with these horizontal rays, is this guy in February. Then you would put some interest on this level because it's had a number of touches, 1, 2, 3. There's also support throughout this part of the formation, and so it's significant. We can even drop this guy here to make that point. And so, as you can see, I'm drawing when I shouldn't be. As you can see, these horizontal levels are critical to price action. Go back and take the wick off that guy as well. So breaking through here, quite a lot of resistance at that level. Should it manage to do so, then you've got a 50% retracement at the top side of this formation, but that's not a really strong level of resistance. Hasn't been tested from the top side previously support, whereas the golden pocket and 618 come in at this level where you have found previous support and then resistance ahead of a breakdown move that went into this speculative channel. So that would be the next level to look to, and that's up back above $10. We can even drop this guy on here, demonstrate that it's had a number of touches from either direction. So these are the crucial levels on the monthly if the bullish move is legit across those time frames. You've also got the 200 period moving average and the 50 simple back above those levels. So what with them only taking another print every time the month closes, you would say that price action in its nature could easily get to that golden pocket retracement before the 200 period moving average comes down if it makes its way up there in a couple of months, which 60 days, not entirely impossible. And if 30 days is significant, as denoted by the delinquency potential, then 60 likewise. Two closes on a monthly candle could then take price higher without it yet reaching that important level of resistance, and that would likely be an area where price slows down on first approach. It would be unlikely to break it, and so slowing down in approach possible. So on the monthly, we've got structure back to the top side, which I can turn off the tool clip and make it more obvious then. Just those three lines that are incredibly important to break through. Clearly you've got one here as well, where price has recently been. That's in line with the diagonals, and so we're not going to worry too much about dropping in an extra horizontal there. And price hasn't really made its way far from that level at the minute. So this is the areas to look to. Should it break the downward sloping diagonal, you'd be looking at these testing on a monthly time frame, and there are plenty of levels back above that. But because the 200 period moving average is kind of close to this first one, we're going to leave that as the picture for now. If it does break down again, you had such a strong impulse move off the last month there from the 54, 55 cent entry, that it may well be that that is a danger or a warning sign that price is highly volatile, can move a big distance in 1 month period, and has come from this low, so could easily make its way back there if it just repeats what it did going in the other direction. And that in order to do that, it doesn't necessarily defeat structure, because the lows back below it were slightly lower, and so it could still be a higher low coming anywhere down to those previous entry targets. And anything can happen at any time, so while it's not likely that that's going to happen immediately, while it isn't even on the horizon with regards to my own expectations about price because of the analysis I've done, it still isn't true to say that it's impossible. And so we'd be aware of all of the potential if price started moving back down. We don't really have much else to go on in terms of the monthly, and you could probably take these previous body closes out at around 70, 75 cents. This guy in at around $1, clearly a psychological level that's important, but it's not a strong level of support and resistance on the monthly opens or closes, so we don't worry too much about marking those drawings in, only to say that this downward sloping trend persists until it's broken, and it's not yet broken. Certainly not an open close open on a monthly, which would speak to a couple of months of price action. So on the monthly time frame, price action and the structure around it does give us targets to the top side should we make a breakout move via this diagonal. But the likelihood of that isn't something we can judge based on the behavior of price here, looking at it in that one dimension from the bar chart. We can though get a little bit of added context if we go down and look at our momentum indicator. Here it's managed to hold these previous areas. We would say that this was then potentially turning around. It's recovered its own moving average. It has done that before, but subsequently it went straight back down again, lost it, and continued that downward sloping trend, which is part of this downward sloping channel. As you can see here, price action making a rejection candle subsequent to this tiny awful move itself. If you're judging it compared to the prior candle, you would say after such a dramatic drop off and a wick low, perhaps that you would have looked for a stronger reaction, and this subsequent candle, the green one, after that big deep red, to make a move back up and test 50% of the range from where it came, and that didn't happen. It did get a wick to that area later before it was obviously a rejection, what with the wick being larger than the body itself and price breaking then through support subsequently. So negative reactions after a test, and so maybe you'd be looking in around these levels for more information with regards to the momentum. Certainly you'd be looking for the RSI to hold its own moving average in the current context of price. And so here we are on the RSI. It's back above its moving average, as denoted by the fact that orange there, it's changed orange from blue, which I should probably make green because it would fit with the style of the chart at the minute. downward sloping diagonal, important horizontals to target, momentum then what we're looking for. And you can also see it on the MACD, put that in context too with previous behaviors. These crosses from below the center line can be significant for price action if you're talking about bullish scenarios, and likewise crosses back above, like cross downward back above the center line, can be negative. So you've got those peaks here. If you put them in line with price action, crossing, there's been a high here, that area you had a cross, price action fell down again. Similarly here, you didn't get much of a negative reaction on price until such times you had a positive close recovery, and then the peak at the all-time high. Quite a dramatic shift in momentum subsequently. And that trend on the MACD, you might say, has been arrested by the fact that it's clearly turned around. You've got your cross, but you haven't got confirmation that would come back above the center line, at which point price would clearly have put in a low, because you're judging it from that high to this low, talking about a significant move back up again, in order to say that it has made a move that's worth measuring. If we take the 236 to denote that level, it's back above 149. That matches the downward sloping diagonal, and so gives us confluence, sort of confluence that means that we don't need to draw extra lines on the chart. We've got everything simple, clear, and well defined. This MACD needs to make it back above the center line. This RSI needs to pull out of the bearish control zone, and price needs to break that downward sloping diagonal. Not just that, but then go on, touch 250 or so, break that level, preferably then use that as support, at which point you would have a reversal formation. You might even have a bullish chart formation suggestive of higher targets, and those would likely be confluent with this horizontal in at around 10 bucks, 9.50 to 10 bucks being the range, and that's what we anticipate as being a really good month for LivePerson then. Breaking the downward sloping diagonal, moving towards 250. If it exceeds that, very positive. We'd like to see it pull out of the bearish control zone on the RSI, and we'd like to see the MACD and the signal line both approaching that center line. If it is that the MACD manages to break back above that center line, especially if it happens this month, that would be a very dramatic move, and price would have probably made its way up to the top side of these three horizontal rays. The RSI itself would very much likely be then out of the bearish control zone, at which point you'd be comparing it to previous peaks. There would be a question mark about the strength of price, and a lot of market participants would then at that stage be looking for support, which would likely lead to oscillations back down. We'd find tests, we'd measure the strength of them, and that might give us an indication of the future of LivePerson longer term. Longer term, 2 months, very difficult to do TA that lasts that long, especially if it's counter to the prevailing trend, and that very much would be the case if you're to look at price action. Take that wick out and say this is the resistance level here. That candle did touch back above this line, but price corrected back towards that previous trend and then found resistance at that third touch, or fourth, depending on how many you think it started off with, and it hasn't yet broken it yet. So can't get too desperately excited about the long-term outlook until such times as we've got an evidence-based approach, and that evidence that we would take the most conviction from would be it defeating previous artifacts on the chart. Firstly, that diagonal trend line. So that's what we're looking to. Price to perform better than this diagonal suggests is likely, the momentum to be in line with that positive shift in the trend, and then for price action to test so high that any oscillation back down to support would be one of these two important current resistant levels, and then finding support at previous resistance would give it more credibility, more credence, and price rises more credibility thereafter. So that's what we're looking at based on the monthly analysis of LivePerson. If we go to the weekly, what with there being 4 of them in the month, here's the 50 simple. It comes in at around $2. That'd be an 886 from this important breakdown point. And if it doesn't manage to get back above there, and we don't expect it to do these sort of things in one pass, then it's possible, should it find resistance at that exact level, that you see price make a slightly larger retrace than you'd be perfectly comfortable with, which might mean testing back below a 236, but still maintaining market structure. That market structure at that point would be a diagonal trend line. We've got a couple of touches so far. Let's see. I've already got a guy there. Well, I'll leave him for later. You would like it to hold that 236 price action to hold 149, 150. If it goes up and tests in at around 240, 238, that would be good to see it do that sort of thing. If it doesn't and it holds this diagonal, that's perfectly okay. It could do both of them, but that would speak to a couple of weeks of price action rather than one. Looking left, you can see that it's managed to break above critical levels on the weekly time frame, and sure, you've got a retracement thereafter, but that might be what you would anticipate after a positive move, seeing a test back against support. Daily, again, a lot of people potentially worried about price action, but this move is a doji. That is to say that price action itself, the body, quite relatively small compared to the wick either side. The top side wick being bigger than the bottom does give a tiny touch for concern, but overall you would say that the week has just started. The month has just started, and so there's a little degree of pause and reflection as to the long-term outlook on the trend, and this candle itself on the daily then reflective of that indecision. The top side being bigger than the body and bigger than underneath makes you take away the question, is this a rejection? And what with it being the first time it's moved outside this upward sloping diagonal trend line, itself only had a potentially, ambiguous whether it's had 2 or 3 touches. It is possible then that it proves its validity by recovering, and with that previous potential rejection wick and then recovery, you would say that gives extra confidence that market participants are confident and aligned with your own objectives. So getting back within that channel and recovering this horizontal level at 125, that would be positive for LivePerson. If it's to do it tomorrow, it would leave this as more or less as an abandoned baby, price action then pushing back up again. Could give you, a 3 candlestick pattern, which would suggest price action testing up to around 135 or 140. And I would say that that's something that's worth paying attention to, because this isn't just a candlestick formation potentially evolving with a recovery of important trend line, therefore demonstrating the validity of this bullish trend we're in, but also it would be price action potentially confirming this as an inverted scallop, which would suggest that you had a huge measured move off the back of it, and you've also got important artifacts up at that level, which I'll show you in a minute. Now, if this inverted scallop is to prove to be true, you could easily look at this breaking back up and putting in a move, taking it up to those targets, 886, 310, and important levels that we've looked at on the chart previously. A lot of lines now, so we'll delete that guy. And what's this? Where did he come from? I think he's from somewhere down there, but we're not going to bother trying to figure it out. Right, so a potential scallop, the beginning of that would likely start with a candlestick formation, and an abandoned baby having broken a diagonal trend line is commonly something you see at the beginning of one of those moves. It hasn't happened yet, and that's the top trace bottom tip. But it's possible, Now, we are peering a little bit too far into the future, and would be looking at extremely big targets, considering you'd have to go through a golden pocket and a 200 period moving average. But price went through the 50 simple period, and at least making it to those levels then, off the back of this move, isn't completely out of the question. This turnaround that forms the scoop on the scallop, it's come back down and tested these previous levels of resistance, which could now be support and would likely add to the bullish thesis at this point. There will be people buying it for that reason, because of this price action here previously. And if tomorrow is positive and it starts off with a degree of velocity, or even if some period during the day it manages to achieve a move to the top side that looks positive on reflection, then you would say that it looks like it might close out in a positive day back above $1 again, which would be the 10, which would be the company escaping the delisting notice, which would add a lot of validity to the TA we've been doing and defeat a lot of the bearish narrative that currently surrounds the stock. The reason for the potential delisting putting off other traders is they don't want to be trading something that could end up OTC and then restrict their ability to trade the asset. It's also off-putting because of the regulations in around those markets being so distinct from what we get here with the NASDAQ. And so that and the potential for the company themselves to take evasive action in the form of a reverse split is the sort of narrative that does rest like an anchor around the neck of any company facing these delinquency notices. So if it can manage to escape the bearish narrative, which it would need a bullish trend to be doing so, then it would add velocity to that trend and likely lead to continuation, which is what you would look for as a trader. So the steps that it might go through in order to get there would be this being an abandoned baby, it turning into a 3 candlestick formation where price reaches back up above 137, maybe even up to around 147. And should it escape that level, then you've got this 170 200 period moving average 618 retracement likely to happen. That's also the bottom side of this gap, and where again you might find some profit taken and or some bears joining in. It would though form part of a potential breakout in a scallop with a measured move much higher. And so if it is that new market entrants come in at this level, and that creates a demand and supply imbalance, and that's likely what does happen when price action manages to defeat the delinquency notice, is that it creates this imbalance with regards to the demand and supply, because new market participants, even if they are looking to go short, often need to acquire shares to action that process. If it's new funds looking to open long, then clearly they'll be buying, and that sort of demand is what first impacts, or is what is first affected by new market participants, is demand. And it's only later do they turn into the people who would sell, and that add to the supply side, which would then create an equilibrium, which hasn't happened in the first instance of the dynamic. Of course, new arrivals buying the thing are going to lead to less supply to meet that increased demand. And I don't think the bottom side of a gap would likely be where that would supply would meet that increased demand. It's much more likely that you would see that sort of thing back at the top side of a gap, because there's less liquidity in this area, because prices didn't trade there when it most recently went through it, than you would find below or above. And so gap theory suggests that price would slip through this area quite quickly should it break through the golden pocket in the 200 period moving average. On the daily time frame, might not break it on the first pass. If that is the case, you would want it to hold the trend line that it's confirming now, and that to be part of this being a abandoned baby or a different candlestick formation that likely leads to price moving back up again. So we're looking to see price recover this diagonal, get back above 133, test 137, fill in a fair value gap at around 152, which would mean it would need to break through an important level of resistance in at around 147. Now there is reason to be confident of that, even if you see price come further down, because here we are on the 12-hour time frame. That's not all that different. Let's go down to the 4 hour. Though there's a point to be made there on the 12 hour. Down to the 4 hour, and we'll put on a regular trading hours and wait for the toolkit to load up there, where you've got the same signature with the 50 simple going through the 200 period moving average. So a bullish cross between these moving averages, speaking to the velocity in near-term trend as having increased, and there being a distinction now between the recent trend and the slightly longer trend as manifest there in that 200 period moving average. Of course, it collects 200 periods to look back on and create an average from, whereas the 50 simple is only 50 periods. So 50 period with a tighter, more acute angle to the top side means that the more recent trend has been more bullish than the longer term trend, which speaks to an acceleration in the rate of change in price to the top side. And when that happens, it's indicator of a number of things: that price is moving rapidly, that it's increasing in speed compared to its previous moves, and that it's accentuating the trend it's in. And so in those moments, counterintuitively maybe, it's worth paying attention to the fact that price always eventually returns to the mean, and these moving averages are one version of creating that mean. That's the average price over a period of time. So the mean of the trend, one manifestation of it, is moving averages, and these two are important ones to look to. They've had a cross that suggests that price could potentially then look for support. As you can see, when they crossed here on this horizontal, price did go through an inflection point that was subsequently tested again, failed, and therefore looking back for support is important at this point. Putting on the indicators, you can see the RSI. That's the power behind the price, and it's dropped off significantly since that cross happened. If you're to look to the cross here, you can see that was the second touch. It was price coming back up and testing higher. There was a degree of bearish divergence, and it suggested then that price would go on and find support or test a mean. And where do you look to that? Well, here's good options to aim for should the 236 not hold. That 236 coming in at around 124. That broke earlier on. So this is now what we're looking at. Current picture. Does it recover from here? Has it demonstrated enough strength? Might it be that the drop off in buying pressure measured at the closing price with the RSI here, that's dropped off significantly, and perhaps then this is the sort of area where it turns around. It's very close to the center line. In all honesty, it's just below it. But we would counter that negativity with the fact that it's also reaching this trend line, 1, 2, 3 touches on the RSI. And if we're to compare this as a cluster of price action to this previous effort, we see it was higher and there wasn't bearish divergence in the trending move to the top side, while there might have been at that little peak over there. You do also have a head and shoulders, complex head and shoulders on the RSI. It's done the measured move from that. It's come back down, test the center line and the trend line. And then it could well be that price has found an important level of support. Looking left, you can see that there are important closes on these previous candles in this trend that took it here. And so that's a potential area for a bounce. It isn't the strongest reason for it to bounce, but that's not speaking to it itself as a reason, but more looking at the indicators which would illustrate that market participants would likely feel like this is a good entry point based on their own previous behaviors. And that's true to say with this dimension of price showing us that the move down again, despite it being involved lots and lots of market participants, market orders and takers, price takers, causing price to make the move that it has done, and that leading to price cut RSI coming in, making this retracement. That hasn't pushed price down significantly compared to its own behavior in the trend that took it to the top side. That is to say that the previous lows that it tested this trend line on, they were back down around 54 cents. The RSI is meeting that trend line, that linear trend line on the momentum. If it is to push lower and get towards that area, the RSI has not got a great distance to travel to find support of its own. And price then could easily make its way to the 50 simple in at around 99 cents and then bounce again, putting in extremely strong bullish divergence on the momentum. MACD crossing over doesn't give you confluence with that idea, but if it does manage to come down as price makes that oscillation, you could probably get a test in there around the center line and move back up to the top side again. So positive indications, even if there is a slight retracement in price, that likely lead to a bounce. And same as I've said a number of times on this show, as price is approaching this important moving average, and now we're on a 4-hour time frame, can't necessarily say this any lower, but as the price approaches that manifestation of the mean in that moving average, it's unlikely to break it on the first pass. Okay, now that's simply using that definition and that illustration with these 50 simple and 200 period simple moving averages. It's not possible to do it with lots of other moving averages. They're not as commonly looked to by traders and then don't provide the same self-fulfilling prophetic powers that this situation does, because it's followed by lots of people and algorithms. So as I say, the RSI has broken that center line, which itself isn't desperately enthusiastic, isn't drawing intense enthusiasm for me. But if you're looking at this measured move, drop it on from the breakdown point, you'd likely say that is it here. And you can see that it doesn't actually exceed this trend line. And so maybe that is enough of a, second base consolation for it to get to that area and then hitch its wagon to this ride back up again in price moving back. And if it does recover that 236 there, we can see it comes in at 1.22 on that fib, then I'd say likely that price is continuing its uptrend. It's going to come back up, test 147, get back above that level, go to 179, test the bottom side of that gap. That won't be resistance for long. It'll break up again, go to 233, and then everybody will be wondering why there's such a big baby crying about things all the time. But hey, then down to the one, oh no, an unknown error, please contact support. And now it's back again on the 1 hour. What am I going to say to support? Support, my charts disappeared and gave me a warning message, and then all of a sudden reappeared. They'll tell me to take a running jump. Support. Who is support anyway? Contact support? What is this? Did they ever hear of austerity? Support was cut a long time ago. Right, so you've got this gap on the charts that comes in at around 98 cents. And if you do make a retracement in around those levels, it's also the prior weekly low. And we wouldn't worry about that. We would likely see price get there and that being a positive situation. Now, there's also a previous Rocky Outcrop flash in at around those levels, and that's an awful lot of confluence and an awful lot of reason then that price would likely bounce should it make its way there. That's the 1 hour time frame, 200 period moving average itself approaching there. It's got a very strong slope, and you've recently lost the 50 simple with a test and rejection a number of times, so holding that 200 period, obviously that's also something that might happen. Could easily break it on the first pass. You did it here on the 50 simple, which is why I make that point about it being lower than the 4 hour. You can't necessarily take a lot of confidence in that. Now here's the 30 minute time frame where you've got a cross on the MACD. Now we talk about how this crosses in different ways given different information. You had this cross here. Price retraced back down, test the support level where the cross first happened. That was a higher low on all momentum indicators, and just subsequent to it you had bullish divergence. That's what you've got here. So this cross and a little bit of a meandering between the MACD line and the signal line isn't completely out of the question. You've had price react at that first cross, come back up again, and it was bullishly divergent. So if you're to look for another test of that area, then price could well bounce at 1.09. Doesn't have to make its way back down to 1.01, or indeed come back down and test in around that 99 cents and fill that fair value gap and visual gap on price action there. Lots of reasons. Also on the 30 minute, you're already on a 200 period moving average. You've had the cross on the MACD, and now you're waiting for confirmation to see if it is that price pushes up again, breaks back above that 236 and takes the moving average and the MACD signal line here and gets back above the center line. You get confirmation of this buying signal, and price then could easily break back above that 50 simple and come in and test the prior daily highs in around 138 or the downward sloping diagonal, which likely is at around 147 at that point in time. 15-minute time frame then. Lots of reasons to be positive here if you put, if I go up and show you all of them. But 50 simple through the 200, and price hasn't managed to break that 50 simple with a negative slope, a negative splay, and price on the wrong side of both of them. If that changes, any one of those three things changes, then price would probably come up and test 133. So that's one of the things that I'd be looking at on the smaller time frames, where the macro analysis then has to fit with these little footsteps that price itself would be taking. You've got your fib now working in the downtrend, and you can see that recovery back above 115 would be significant. It closed at 1.14, so you've put in lows that mean that we're now proximate to significant retracement back up again from those areas, and that if price made its way back there, that would be the start of a very volatile possible move, with that abandoned baby candlestick formation then likely playing out. No time tomorrow back in this current zone. Highly volatile moves to the top side, and there's narratives there that you would probably understand, because a lot of people here have been taking profit, have been taken out on a stop loss, particularly when price went back through 116. And while it was identified on Rocky Outcrop show that in at around 1.11 be a good buying point, it wasn't where all of the liquidity rested. And so if it is that liquidity is trying to catch this move before it gets too far, before it departs from the entry zone, so much so that the risk management associated with the trade would be compromised, then at approaching those levels of resistance in around 122, the 200 period moving average at 124, if it gets to that level, a lot of people will be jumping in thinking, oh sugar, I'm about to miss the move, and that would likely drive further price action to the top side, test that 138 level. That's what we'll be looking at down at the 1 minute, where you've got a number of Rocky Outcrop flashes that were keeping you safe as price was making this retracement back down again, especially when you came in and tested that level at 1.09. You left that artifact at 116, and even though price was then up at around 126, 127, you were aware of the potential for it to come back down and rest at this area towards close. So there were artifacts on the chart that were visible to people who've got a lot of money, or who people, and likewise some of them have that indicator because they're part of this community, and they would have also been involved in that buying pressure at those levels. So they took their foot off the gas at this point, waiting for these retracements, and those people are now waiting for price to make their mind up for them. Very sensible attitude to take. And these are the things that we're cognizant of and aware of as we go through price action, then using extra electronic hours. Putting it in context, what have we seen since close today? Worked all the way down from the monthly, so we've got a good picture of this mountainside that we're looking to climb back. Obviously you've got a negative slope, negative splay on the moving averages. You've not got anything desperately important to point to on the RSI or the MACD. It's not reliable down these time frames anyway. 5 minutes. You had a little bit of a flash. You've got a cross there with the 50 simple test and a 200 period moving average, and then those two fighting it out, a battle of wills between those two important moving averages. And likely if price does make a sharp move back up again, then you would see that cross be resolved and price action testing either of those two moving averages from above and bouncing up again, I would take as confirmation to the potential for a positive day tomorrow. 15-minute time frame. This is an interesting one here. You've got this obvious nature across the top of price action. You could draw across that with this line here. And you could see then that if price is breaking back above these levels in at around 122, that's a 236 on a different time frame. There's a 200 period moving average coming in a golden pocket here at around 128. It'll be holding the back above a 50 simple, testing a 200 period moving average. These things are all definitely possible in pre-market. Exceeding that target at 1.28 in tomorrow's price action ahead of open hours would suggest that there is a positive day on the cards. The earnings and the day after earnings are the sort of period where the market wants to see how other parts of that overall corpus are digesting the information, because price drives price and market participants are the people involved in that action. They operate using their own behaviors, and so behavior analysis is part of it, though it wouldn't come under that term. That's exactly what it is. There's that 236, that important one at 1.22, that area meeting the downward sloping resistance on the channel that we've got scoped out. Now the fidelity of where I've drawn it isn't as important. Well, you've got this downward sloping diagonal across the top of price action. You've also got the same thing here across the top of the RSI, whether you're looking at it in that fashion or you're taking it from this most recent high. You've had 3 touches of it. Stretching it there a bit, sputter. And if that breaks, then price will probably break its diagonal. If price breaks its diagonal, then this guy would also likely do so subsequently. Whichever comes first will give you a little bit of context. If price does it first, then you'd wonder about the strength of the momentum behind the move, and you'd hope it burn it off with a really strong test back up again towards 150. If the momentum indicator does it first and price action hasn't yet done so, then it may be taken as a sign of strength. Market participants getting involved, and the short side of the trade would quickly evaporate, leading to then potential for price to start putting in sustainable moves back up again. And so we would wonder which will come first. Things worth looking to there. 4-hour time frame, external hours, extra electronic trading hours. Maybe you're not then getting the same validity from this chart on this time frame with that fact that it's being electronic trading hours. But it's worth looking at here, perhaps before we go up any higher. And you can see, especially if I turn off the drawings, that the 50 simple there at that 236, that's two important things coming in at exactly the same point. If you break that, then the break itself would be more significant because you're managing to break two important things. So that's what we're talking about today on price action. Working our way down from the monthly, having identified the key support and resistance levels. They're very interesting, they're worthwhile paying attention to, keeping an eye on them as the month evolves for price action. And then we went through the weekly, daily, even glanced at the 12-hour. There's no real point, in my opinion, when you're looking at stocks. And then the 4-hour, the hourly, the 30-minute, the 15-minute, the 5-minute, the 1-minute, and back up again where it was relevant on the electronic trading hours. So if that is helpful, let me know. Why tell me there's another error? There's no error, silly machine. The mic has been working. I can see that. And we're back in the chat box. This is going to make an excellent sleep hypnosis video for me to fall asleep on. Yeah, you could see the same thing about literally all of your messages in chat recently, Katie. Only I'd have to look at them, in which case I'd be doing more work, even more work. Feels like general markets kept us down today. Well, the largest index does have an implication for various stocks, but this thing, LivePerson, it's not in those indexes, so it wouldn't be driven by moves within them. General market sentiment would be impacted by those moves, though. And so the fact that LivePerson managed to hold critical support levels, didn't have too much of a desperately strong range to the downside, considering that dramatic drop-off in SPY, and other things had such a crappy day. Like, for example, GameStop dropped LivePerson drops 5.39%, and there was a big reason why there was a degree of ambiguity and insecurity in price, whereas GameStop couldn't even hold $22. I mean, it keeps getting smacked down, and neither is it in these large index funds. And there is gain, like that's gain at resistance. So there's tough moves across the market, but people in GameStop, I'm one of them, right? Likely got a lot more than any of the people who would ever say anything negative about me. Associations with it, it's very, very strong. People in GameStop, right? People who are ignorant, who try to convince other people to feel FOMO so that they don't abandon their position, simply to benefit themselves, and because they don't have any conviction over their own analysis. So their method of operandi is, I'm going to make anyone else feel bad if they themselves have a doubt. That type of fanny. Right, what they would say is, oh my God, the overall index fell down, and that was why GameStop's struggling, so don't worry about GameStop. When in fact, the reason GameStop's down is because people don't want to buy GameStop, largely in part because of the CEO recent behavior. Nothing to do with the general market or the overall index, and it itself fell 4.23%, which is a huge chunk, right? It's a huge, huge chunk. Especially if it is to be said that GameStop itself is aiming for the S&P. If we're thinking about GameStop making its way into larger funds, if it's going to start achieving significant things, then you would think that it would be able to outperform those companies ahead of it in the listings, which it's not doing. It's not doing at all. The market cap now is 9.25 billion, so that's nearly 2 billion that's been wiped off the value of this thing. 2 billion wiped off the market cap since Ryan Cohen started tweeting things that were negative about women, or how he classes women, though his definition isn't the one that the world at large uses anymore. He's still clinging on to it. And so him coming out with these comments about things that are totally unrelated to the stock itself is what's having an impact on the price of GameStop. And it's already knocked the best part of 2 billion off the thing. Added to that is the negativity surrounding GameStop due to the recent dilutions, which only managed to raise 4 billion. Now, I say only because half of that's gone because of 2 or 3 tweets that he's made. And so you ask yourself, if you put all that together, that might be said to have cost shareholders an aggregate amount, right? An aggregate amount of around 6 billion. And that's an awful lot of money. And that isn't because SPY's fallen, right? That's nothing to do with it, which itself only went down 1.37%. and also managed to hold important levels of support. Plus, it was going through a gap, filling it. Previously, it did an island in a previous fill of a gap, and that's so very commonly what happens. If it moves up to fill one gap, creates another in the process, then it very likely comes back down, tests support somewhere just beyond the close of the most recent one. And so SPY moving that way, again, you'll get people who don't know what they're talking about that are saying that the overall market went down because of something to do with GameStop. That's a silly conversation. It happens regularly, and it's not me that's having it, and I'm not even going to engage in it. But like the points I'm making here aren't to bash on LivePerson. It's to say that while it's true to say that the direction of the main indices, in particular those sectors relevant to any company you might be looking at, will have implications for the sentiment of the single stock you're trading, it's not true to say that the movement of that index, especially if it doesn't include those funds, will have a direct correlation with the stock you're trading. And so while it's easy to say, oh, maybe this, because you would similarly share that feeling and sentiment with regards to the broader market, it isn't true to say that those are the reasons for anyone buying or selling that individual stock. And so if LivePerson was involved in hedging, for example, it was a hedging mechanism for other people looking to go long on AI and short the sort of weaker stocks within it, then they'd likely be choosing higher market cap stocks to do it with, those that would be considered to be peers, and therefore the moves that you'd see then likely to be the equivalent or going equivalent in the opposite direction of that which performed better, right? So you'd use a hedging mechanism to protect against downside losses. So for example, you're long Nvidia, but you want to protect the downside risk, then you might also open a short on an equivalent peer, so that if the overall sector moves down, you're still making money in that downward move. That downward move would cover anything you lost on your long on Nvidia, and it would be cheaper to take it out because you'd use an instrument that provided you with asymmetric risk so that your returns were higher for the investment involved. The nature of those is that you would need to have a shorter dated expiry on that instrument to ensure that it was giving you that asymmetric return to cover you from the downside move, and therefore it would need to be cheaper than the cost of moving to the top side would then be ameliorated by the gains you get from your long side of the hedge. And so there's mechanisms, there's couplings, and there's behaviors, and there's instruments, and there's also sentiment, and there's also index funds, and then there's big groups of funds, stocks that are traded together. But without talking about it a little bit greater than in that initial comment I read out, we couldn't necessarily draw any specific hard and fast conclusions there. Sorry, Rara. Well, I will be in the kitchen making buttermilk fried chicken tonight, so I guess it goes both ways. Barry, you're in the kitchen. You should have said that to price action before. No, seriously, after Lisbon's earnings call, I want some forward guidance on GameStop. It was an exciting earnings call, really enthusiastic board member there in John Sabino, pardon me, and really great detail clarified in the mechanisms and the accountancy details from John Collins. And then great questions from the analyst most engaged in the stock at the end of the call. So not only do the earnings calls from LivePerson include the two most important and significant board members there. Absolute legends, and I think LivePerson has got one of the best boards in the business. But also, along with detail in the earnings report, which was lengthy, elaborate, and helpful to any shareholder, it was also very welcoming to people who are new to the stock market, I felt, right? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And on top of that, at the end of the earnings call, they elaborated on all of the points they made. They opened the floor up for questions, and anybody who's a shareholder could have phoned in and asked one. And the most engaged analyst from Craig Hallam did phone in, asked really good questions that set the board up to knock it out of the park in terms of answers. So not only did you get the earnings call and the sense of community around it, the helpful explanation and guidance with regards to where they see the company going in future, but you also got the opportunity to contribute to that event. And not only would you have your voice heard, but you'd have your question answered by world-class board members. And that was so positive. It was so refreshing for anybody who's previously been trading GameStop. And it's obvious now, isn't it, to everybody listening along. Sometimes you just need to have somebody else say it so that you can recognize it as truth. But the reason that Ryan Cohen doesn't speak on the earnings calls is because he's insecure about how his commentary would be received. And he's got good reason for it, because his tweets are received like a pile of fucking stinking shit being dumped on someone's face. And if it was that he was to act similarly in a corporate event like an earnings call, it would be received absolutely terribly by the market at large. It would attract the worst possible type of attention. He'd alienate even more people there. And he's probably making the right decision by not saying anything. You know, we've got a saying over here: if you've not got anything nice to say, keep your mouth shut, you fucking idiot. And maybe that's the method of operandi he's going with at the minute. I'm not sure, but I can tell you that if he was to say anything more offensive, then he would cost GameStop even more money off the top of what he's done presently, approaching $2 billion. Schwartz celebrates 25 months of membership. Boom. Barry Basuba gifted 10 memberships. Welcome. Alcy. Jay woke up late. Jay, you're going to have to get into better habits, mate. Hugo, Matthew, DVO, Brian, Prince, Mick. I wish I was Sanjeet, Kevin, and Bills. Bills, great to see all of you there. Congratulations. You're now married to Barry Basuba. Welcome to the community. Thanks very much for being here. It's appreciated. Very generous. Very much appreciated. Great to see it. Sold 10 of my GME shares to do so. Congratulations. What did you get for them? Beautifully articulated. It wasn't it? It was beautiful. I just made... What did you just made? Rotini. Oh, lovely. Good job, Diana. TracePon, the only excuse I and other apes have now, the RAC is triggering the bots, but shareholders are also triggered. Big mad. Yeah, but there aren't bots that look for prejudicial commentaries and jokes that exploit marginalized communities in order to short shares. They're called human beings, and they've got distaste for that type of attitude and behavior. They're not bots. They're human beings with a moral pillar within themselves who feel like there's no need to make money by being exploitative. In fact, we're trying to change the market so that that type of behavior doesn't exist anymore. It's a central tenet of the culture behind that phenomenon that is GameStop. It's why the movement has persisted so long, and it's at the heart of all of our actions. So when somebody then abuses that truth, abuses people that don't need that shit in their life, and then takes advantage of that toxic conversation that goes on, often in extremely far-right circles, in order to get a tighter, closer-knit group around them so that they can then more easily exploit those people. Well, it doesn't sit well with right-minded people like myself. We think to ourselves, well, I want no part of that type of behavior. I don't want my investments and my trades to be an endorsement of said behavior. And if anything, if should I be drawn to make a comment on this behavior, I would put it where it belongs, right? It rests there in the far right circles, right? Those are, I mean, I've not got a political opinion, but I have got two eyes in my head, and I do know that the far right look stupid, act stupid, say stupid ass shit. They come across as like complete weirdos. They want control of women's bodies. They want you to not be able to vote anymore. They want extremely stupid ass cultural norms to somehow become popular, and it's completely absurd, right? They're also very angry and easily motivated in very blunt and stupid ways, and so I find it to be extremely offensive if somebody who's an iconic part of a company, and crucially their communications are what drives much of the culture in the shareholder base. I find it to be extremely stupid when they try to use that group to further their own agenda, right? Whether that be a political one, whether it be something to be anti-women, whether it be something about being anti-trans, whether it about being something that's, I mean, anything to do with that's not exactly the company itself, right? It feels to be like an abuse of power. And that's certainly true to say about Ryan Cohen's behavior recently, because he's got far bigger investments in other companies than he does in GameStop, right? Far bigger. It's his proportional ownership of the company gives him this outsized voice, when actually he's also an investor with a much bigger dollar stake in other companies. So his focus clearly isn't on GameStop as much as it's on being quite abusive to people and engaging in extreme behaviors, which is really off-putting to the majority of people. And he's not completely ignorant to these facts. He's doing it in full consciousness. So it's terrible, right? It's terrible, despicable behavior. It might be that he's trying to set a lot of fires so that he can revitalize the earth, which then future growth comes from, right? Which would be to adopt the rhetoric which he himself is using in a far more sophisticated way. Truth is that to say that at all would even be manipulative, right? That's not what's happening. He's behaving like an ignoramus in an obnoxious fashion, which is at the very least is unkind. It's very unkind to the sort of people who I've spent my life allied with, and will never, ever, ever buy another share of GameStop until such times as he demonstrates that those feelings aren't his true philosophies, because they be so. Then I will never buy another single share of the thing. I won't compromise my own behaviors and take direction from that type of commentary. I'll just play my own game, follow my own agenda, and keep doing the good things I've been trying to do on YouTube for over 4 years now, whether or not it costs me money, because there's some things that are more important than money, and I can make money in lots of different ways. Have you seen LivePerson? I can make money in lots of different ways. I don't need that shit in my life, and nor does any other right-minded person. It's fucking stupid. So it's not triggering bots. It's triggering right-minded, reasoned people to turn around and say, fuck that shit, and fuck anyone who says that crap. So that's why it is, right? That's what, it's just pathetic behavior is what it is, right? It's pathetic. And I didn't start the conversation. Somebody asked if it was because he was doing it to trigger bots. He isn't doing it to trigger bots. He's doing it to trigger right-minded, reasonable people. Trade spotting didn't cost you money. I know it didn't. Barry Basuba, yeah, it didn't cost me money. What did cost do? Said it was going to 9. What's it at? 9. Yeah, it's back here. It's 9. It's also then going to end up going back down here to 450. Right, that's what's going to happen there. Oh, you guys can't see it. That's where it'll go there. You've got this cross here. It's a 2 hour time frame. What's the point in that? 1 hour time frame. That's meandering back around the center line, coming up just enough to give you a sell signal. If this thing breaks below 820, it's absolutely dangerous. It'll drop down to 647. Probably that doesn't hold. Might take a little bit of a bounce, but it probably wouldn't hold in medium term. You'd be looking at it then coming in, filling in at around 450. So losing 50% of its value. The narrative behind this thing was that they invented, or they didn't, right? Even invent. They managed to get a patent approved for a new way of clipping headphones together. Now, I know that you will share my experience here, right? That we have never, you and I have literally never in our entire lives thought, well, I know what the world needs right now. It needs a new way of clipping headphones together. That's never ever been a thought that any of us have had. What's happened is this patent was acquired and was successfully applied for at the same time as an extremely suspicious post, very poorly written, with crappy analysis, was posted on Superstonk, which is a sub apparently completely unrelated to anything not GameStop. It was posted and it got right to the top there. It was then shared by strange usernames across various social media channels and on YouTube that same day, and pumped very heavily in an extremely suspicious way in those following 48 hours, at which point the price made these kind of moves and still persist around these levels, because nobody's buying or selling this thing at these levels apart from the very, very small ownership. It's very heavily weighted to a very small ownership group there, and those people are then able to use that positive price action to divest at higher levels and take advantage of unsuspecting retail traders, which I find to be disgusting and typical of so many things nowadays that could have been amazing, could have been world-changing, but are then adopted and abused by rich people to take advantage of people who are poorer than them because, hey, that's just seemed to be somehow okay because the fucking world's run by psychopaths or sociopaths or psychopathic sociopaths. Good night. Good night, buddy Adel. Good night. Jamie, you going to sell your Jamie? I know you said you haven't yet, but will you? No. No. I'm very lucky, right, in that I've got, like, one of my accounts cost basis is $7. So I'm not particularly threatened by that behavior with regards to my own finances, that I managed to make the most of a difficult situation really recently so that I don't need to worry about that kind of thing. And I've made staggeringly good moves in LivePerson, you know, staggeringly good moves. So I don't need to. And I still hold out hope that, you know, one of the central parts to my view on life is that everybody's worthy of forgiveness, right? And also, I'm particularly good at technical analysis, and I can see where GameStop will eventually go to, and it might be because of dynamics that have got nothing to do with Ryan Cohen, and it wouldn't be that I'd be likely going to cost myself money because of that behavior that Ryan Cohen's going through. I wouldn't further compound that negative situation by acting in an impractical manner. So I'm very well aware of what's going to happen with the future of GameStop's prices. Like I said, it would get to $22. The range to look for it was at 20 to 22. It's very close to a gap, slightly below there, and maybe it'll be that that's a buy for some people, and it might have been for me, but it fucking won't be at the minute. But like, two decisions there would be, one would be not buying, another one would be to sell. And because I've held through significant ups and downs over the last few years, I just chalk this up as another one. Tracebot, DK Butterfly going to be affecting it a whole lot. Barry Basoba. May well be that actions elsewhere do drive a degree of interest in GameStop, and a lot of that would be institutional funds trying to front run what they would see as the behavior of retail trading. And so should there be, over the next couple of weeks, news in that regard, buddy, then at that point you could see moves in GameStop. Would it be then that GameStop and Ryan Cohen in particular, in his intervention and involvement in the emergence of new entities from that area you're talking about, should it be that Ryan Cohen is, in this period of time, and there's a little window right now that Ryan Cohen would be vulnerable in one particular vector, and in order to insulate himself from that, he's taking these extremely out of character moves so that people aren't able to perceive that vulnerability, so that he can escape through this little window of time where he's particularly vulnerable here in a counterintuitive and slightly abnormal way. It's definitely possible. And like those dynamics would then potentially have knock-on effects for GameStop and its share price afterwards. Right, great, right? That's all possible. But I don't think, and I've touched on this before, I don't think that the ends will ever justify the means, right? Because I grew up understanding like morals and like was taught how to behave ethically just by generally absorbing what was to be a dickhead or otherwise as a kid. And a lot of people, you know, the vast majority of people would be like myself, you know, you'd grow up and know the difference between right and wrong to a very distinct and articulate way by the time you're 9 or 10, right? So, and, you know, it's a well-trodden, well-hashed, properly understood story. The ends don't justify the means, right? You can't act like a dickhead to somehow end all dickhead behavior. That's not going to work, right? It's only going to further compound the dickheadedness. And then who knows, if you end up failing, then all you've done is add to the greater dickheadedness around the place. And so far, that's the current picture, isn't it? Space Cadet, that's an outrageously, extremely offensive tweet. Boom. What does Space Cadet say? Hopefully it wasn't a new tweet. 22 months membership. Congratulations. Congratulations. He's got a new tweet. Right, I'm going to look this up. Yeah, I did actually see that, right? I'm not bringing that up on screen. So that tweet. It's a deeply troubling incident to see that tweet, whether it would be on its own, but in particular in this collection of tweets that have come out recently. He's the CEO of a major company, and a lot of people will see that tweet for what it is. It's deeply racist. It's going to cause pain and outrage and a lot of hurt to a lot of good people. Never mind the fact that it's going to anger those allies of those people. It's the kind of behavior that I find entirely unacceptable, and it goes against my values of respect, inclusion, and unity that I think are so very important to the GameStop movement, but certainly are improvement to a desperate part of what I would suggest is our community here on the channel in the Rocky Outcrop Discord. The actions of that one individual are not reflective of the large parts of the GameStop investor base. They're certainly not reflective of you guys, and I don't think that you need to feel any shame in that action. That expression of ignorance and hatred is nothing to do with you. It's not associated with you. It's in no part your fault, and no shame of it should ever be attached to you. It's disgusting. But these sort of events and these sort of times are when your true character is tested. And in this moment, on this occasion, we'll respond with dignity and grace, just like we have done to all previous assaults from all possible angles. So let's take that tweet and the moment of it to reaffirm our own commitment to goodness and kindness, and the fact that we live in a progressive world that we want to see get better and better. These sort of things, they can cause a ripple effect, not just that action, but how us as a community and how the greater world responds to it. So the ripple effect, let it be one of kindness, of grace, of dignity, and one of mature responses to these despicable behaviors. It's us that have the voice. It's us that are heard. It's not that type of behavior that's dismissed and ignored by anybody with a sensible outlook. Our everyday actions, how we treat our neighbours, how we speak to our friends, how we address each other, those are the places that you make the big difference in the world, not on any tweet or any actions on social media. Being kind, being empathetic, that uplifts other positive people and they go on to do the same. And that's how we speak, that's how we respond. That's the ripple effect that we'd like to see from that disgusting behavior. So let's not be discouraged by that negativity. Let's not be put off by that distastefulness. And let's not forget that for a long time that we've been a core part of and a very large voice in the GameStop movement, and we are a light in the darkness. We're certainly not going to advocate for a future where people aren't respected or valued, and that's very much what would be an outcome of that behavior from the toxic community that's left paying attention to the words that come from that particular CEO's mouth. So shout out to all the kind, empathetic, uplifting people in the world. You guys are a light in the darkness. That sort of thing doesn't bring us down. For a minute there, I was shocked. But it's just another opportunity to say that the world is constantly changing. It's getting better and better in our understanding of each other. And it's a very, very small world with lots of different people in it from all different possible distinctions, whether it be the color of your skin, whether it be your gender, chosen or born with, whether it be your language, whether it be your subculture, whether it be just the computer games you like to play, right? It doesn't none of these things distinguish us so much so that we can't all get along and see that what unites us is far stronger than any of these little differences. So it's just an opportunity to be positive in the face of potential difficulty, which is greater respect and inspires others to do the same. And that's the ripple effect we're looking for. So it's disappointing to see, but it's also, we've got a lot of potential positive future for us. Hiya, Rocky. How you doing? Great to see you, brother. We are all LivePersons. Very much so. And boy, is it refreshing to be involved in LivePerson. LPSN, that's an answer to a lot of different things. And if you're to look back in the history of the CEO now of LivePerson, he's new and has come in since the transition has started. If you're to look back on his history and his actions, you'll see that he's a man of great respect and kindness, as well as somebody of extreme experience and properly impressive skill. He has a lot of self-discipline, he has a lot of motivation, and he matches that with his kindness and his empathy, and that's always been true of him. And it's great to be involved in a company that behaves that way, with a CEO with that outlook. It's very refreshing, it's very positive, and that's why LivePerson over the last couple of months has become such a big home to so many thousands and thousands of new investors who were previously in GameStop and now aren't, and their money, where's it going? They want to be involved in a community that's looking for change. They want to be involved in a culture that pushes for the benefit of others, and they want to be in a company that goes up and up in price, not one that's being used as a vehicle for somebody else's agenda. They don't want to be constantly diluted. If they are, they want it to be as part of a coherent plan, one that's well articulated and communicated. They want to feel involved so that their thoughts and motivations are included in the direction of the company. They want a CEO who speaks to them and speaks for them and they want it to be an inclusive, positive message, and that's what you get with LivePerson. That's what you get with John Sabino. Big fan of Mr. Sabino. Big fan of John Collins. Big fan of the board at large at GameStop. Not at GameStop. Give myself the shudders. Big fan of the board there at LivePerson. Pardon me, misspeaking there. Big mistake. We had 50. We had a 50 once. What did we have a 50 of? Like, what are these bings? It's Barry Basuba. Gifted 20 memberships. Holy shit. Holy shit. I am a Philly bed. You gifted 1. Thank you so much. That's a huge, huge positive decision. And it went to Ken Griffin. Welcome, Ken. Yeah, it's going that way, isn't it? Welcome, Ken. And Barry Basuba, previous to that, had already gifted 10, and then he gave another 20. So that's 31 new members. That's hugely, hugely significant. I imagine with the behavior of CEO Ryan Cohen, we'll be losing members right, left, and center. Not as a reflection of this channel, though I imagine in part some people won't like me expressing these opinions. But in much greater degree due to the actions of somebody we can't control, nor would we want to. He can go ahead and do whatever it is he wants to do, and in every instance, we'll meet it with an equal and opposite positive reaction. As we have done to every challenge, and as we continue to do. Thank you so much, Barry Basuba. What hugely generous. And now you're married to now 30 new people. And I am a Philly red. Or bed. A Philly bed. Maybe a Philly bed. How's it going out there, buddy? Justin Pickerel, $7. Mental Fortitude. Thank you, Jamie. Brilliant. Yo, Justin, you've got a lot of that, my friend. I appreciate you. How you doing, sir? It's extremely surprising to see that tweet, you know, considering so many of the other people involved in GameStop, like Larry Cheng himself, is from, you know, a highly marginalized community that's treated quite badly, despite the fact that he's got a lot of money. I'm sure he empathizes with people that are similar to himself who feel excluded and marginalized and abused by that tweet. So it's extremely strange behavior from Ryan Cohen, but he was lifelong friends with Matt Farlong, who stepped into the breach and did him a favor as the previous CEO. But then as soon as the regulators clamped down on the failed crypto project, Matt Furlong was kicked out the door unceremoniously and then ridiculed on Twitter by Ryan Cohen, his lifelong friend. They were all from the same background and area, and he was abused by him on the way out the door. So it's not completely out of character, you know, but it's very surprising. Justin, the example of Lisbon helping a credit union save money is the kind of community building I love to hear. Happy to be vested in that type of accomplishment. There was Justin Pickerel yesterday with $5, an incredibly important message. Didn't see at the time. Yeah, LivePerson helping a credit union save money. That's the sort of thing that this company does, right? Really good work in communities to make a difference for people who they could most benefit. Not off their own back, not to try and turn a profit exclusively, but in that instance to try and do the right thing for the right kind of person, for the right kind of company, and to try and improve communities. And that was a really good move from LivePerson. Really great to see. Well pointed out. Thanks very much, Justin, for bringing that to our attention. We appreciate it. 1 hour ago, Barry Busbuck donated a Fiend membership and it went to Treetop. That was actually the start of it. Then 42 minutes ago, 10. Then 37 minutes ago, Minner gifted 10. Oh my god. And then Barry Buster did 10. And then I'm a Philly Red did 1. And then Barry Buster did 20. Holy shit. Holy shit. I didn't notice that come in at the time. How did I not notice that? That's massive. That's massive. That's fucking massive. Thank you so much, huh? If you guys renew your memberships, that would be massively important into the sustainability of this channel. I'm not sure if our core audience will persist in their attention span with regards to GameStop any longer, and a lot of them will be disillusioned by their experiences, despite how hard we've tried to help lift them up. They might not, and I would forgive some of them for not making it through to the next level. Next level being LivePerson. Holy shit, that is leveling up. I'm not sure if how many of them will make it through. So all of these gifted memberships, that's very generous. That's reflective of the culture here in this community, which will never be tainted by that toxicity we see elsewhere. And you could renew that membership or upgrade that membership and be part of this community longer term and help make it more sustainable and put more of it into the world. And I'd really appreciate it if you wanted to do that sort of thing. Thanks very much, Barry Basuba. Thank you very much. I'm a Philly Red. Thank you very much, Minner. And thank you, Justin Pickerel, for the $7. It's really appreciated. I know that you're doing an awful lot recently for your family, community, and yourself, Justin, so you don't need to stretch too far on those type of actions, but I do really appreciate it. And if everybody who's watching hits the like button, that would be positive, because I imagine we'll get a significant number of dislikes in this particular show today. How many did we get? 94 likes. That's not too bad. How many views did we get? 453. Cool. 20% of people. Good one. 80% of people are big fat elephant fannies that can't find the like button, you know. This is so often the way it goes with temper people, you know, like people will hear the message I've put out today and think, well, fuck that guy, which is fair enough. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, just like an arsehole. A lot of people, everyone has one. But what those people that are upset with me, a large majority of them will have watched maybe every day for years and years, and they'll forget the effort that I put into them and was committed to doing, regardless of their own opinions or attitudes. But now, having heard mine, will decide to leave. And those people that feel that way, you know, that's fine, no problem. But those people that come in to fill the breach, I appreciate you. Barry Basuba, Minner, and Philly Red. Thank you very much. That was really kind of you. Everybody else hit the like button. Concurrent viewers, 86 people. Thank you so much for watching. What else have I missed then? Let me see in the chat box. Something went wrong according to YouTube, so it won't give me that chat box. So the only one I've got is the one on the screen. It was the deal we made. Yo, Rocky Outcrop. I see 100 likes. Whoa. I see 100 live persons. What is the average, if you don't mind me asking? What average of what? Oh my god, affiliated. Rocky, you deserve everything. You have helped so many. You have helped so many. I am waiting on Lisbon. I won't tell a soul, but there will be signs. Yo. Rocky Outcrop is the genesis for everything that I do. He's always inspired me to be a better person. He's the best brother a human being could hope for. There's Sanjo Kojak in the chat box. He's a lifelong friend. The only reason he's my friend is because Rocky's his friend, so I was able to meet him. And what a great guy Sanjo Kojak is. Good people attract good people. Post a disposition on our LivePerson too. Who did? God, there was a guy a couple of nights ago who had 600,000. Okay, yes, he's a super nice guy too. There's another example of somebody who doesn't share my political outlook. Nah, I don't really particularly have one, but he's in America. He's, you know, maybe not, you know, desperately enamored with the points of view I've put across now, but he doesn't care about that sort of thing with regards to this type of conversation. He's interested in trading. Is trading making a difference to his account, then to his community? And when he's going to make fucking shitloads of money in LivePerson, and when he does, I mean, he's going to make so much money. Like I can't even just from what I think is going to happen, he's probably going to make in the region of, I don't know, like probably in at around, like he could easily make $50 million, right? Easily. He could probably make over 100 million in not too long, and the chance and if LivePerson goes to the levels that where I would even consider selling it at, then he'll be making at least about $250 million off his position. He's a super nice guy in the way he communicates with me. I don't know how he communicates with other people, but he's always been there, and the conversation's been really nice with me. He's a good dude, you know, and he's got his own opinions, which is totally fine. You know, and a lot of people watching along here would have like a slightly right-leaning opinion. And that's totally cool, obviously. I don't care, right? That's not the point. The point is that they don't project onto me insecurities, right? They're confident people who have their own outlook, and that's fine. In fact, it's good, right? It's good that, in fact. Opinions are like fannies. They are. They're just like fannies, Katie. I could only then use my mortgage payment to help everyone, would make a huge difference. You use your mortgage payment to pay your mortgage, Mr. Pancakes. Tracepoint, my first name is Ryan, so I'm picking up the slack. Barry Basuba. We're healing the reputations of Ryans all around the world. Boom. Left are not always wrong, the right are not always right. True story. Cheers from being an awesome Ryan. Yes, thanks for being an awesome Ryan, Barry Basuba. Appreciate you too, Symbol. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Symbol. Symbol there, nice guy. Didn't join all that long ago, but already contributing well beyond his own weight there in the Discord, helping other people, articulating his thoughts in a way that allow other people to learn alongside him. Thanks very much for what you do, Symbol. Appreciate you, friend. Also deeply analytical, intelligent human being, so it's great to have those people on board too. Opinions are like assholes. You shouldn't be allowed to have one. Yeah, you shouldn't be allowed to. Yep, and if Ryan Cohen gets his way, you know, he wants control over people's gender, so we'll see. Jamie, you're taking care of yourself, we hope. Well, Philaki, I'm taking care. Yes, I'm taking care of myself. Not in any conscious way in particular, though. No. Stopped smoking not so long ago. Trying to eat healthy more recently. Trying to get fresh air as and when I can do. So, I mean, over and above that, Jess, looking both ways when I cross the road. A wise man makes his own decisions. An ignorant man follows the public opinion. Right? If you can even tell what it is. Public opinion is very hard to judge shifts and moves. Like the currents in that meme. Did you see it? Did you see it? Only 95 more miles. Tracepoint's anger translator. 95 more miles. Where are you going? Take care. I'm Philly. Are you off, Ski? Thanks so much for the donation, the membership gift there. It's appreciated. You're now married. You're now married. Eh? If you are interested in my political opinion, it's quite neutral, right, with regards to left and right. It's quite neutral. Like, I think that both sides have got something to offer there. There's this argument that it helps, you know, to have a sort of centre right, a centre left, because it in and of itself prevents government oversight and control becoming too big. You know, it also leads to effective deployment of resources, and the debate and what comes out of it can lead to improvements and so on. So I don't, think that the essence of political opinion or an outlook is wrong, and that everybody is entitled to their own opinions is totally fine. That's all cool. I'm still quite neutral though, because I think that personally everyone can do whatever they want to do, right? That's my opinion. Look, you can do what you want to do. You can vote who you want to vote for. You can be whatever you want to be, right? I don't care. What I care about is that everybody has equal opportunity. In particular, that I have equal opportunity. Like, that's like not a joke beating about the bush, right? I want as equal an opportunity as anybody else, to demonstrate then thereafter that I'm better than a lot of people and get rewarded rightly so for it, which point I'll then distribute wealth the way I see fit. Right? And in the meantime, I think the government should take care of people who aren't able to do the best the way themselves. Like, and if that costs a lot of money, that's fine. I'll happily pay extra taxes too. I don't care. I'm going to dye my hair blue because I'm a Democrat. Diana Stevens, that's not a bad idea, right? Not a bad idea. I did have blue hair before once. Looks like a covered wagon from Oregon Trail to me, Mac. What? What? That's really what it comes down to. Yes, the Oregon Trail, that's what it comes down to. Pretty much. Smash that like. Smash that like button. Okay, so I think on reflection from this evening, one thing we would like to take away from it is that we've started a new month here on LivePerson. That the last month we saw there a very significant percentage move in the stock. That it came right up to test those important levels of resistance, and that if we're looking for it to continuation of that move, then we probably would be able to absorb a little bit of a retracement back down again, especially if that's over and done with in a hop, skip, and a jump. It may already be that it's made as much of one as it's going to do. Or Rocky Outcrop show yesterday spoke about 111 as a potential re-entry target, or place to dollar cost average in, or a good area to look about the risk profile of the stock. And price got there today and offered up an opportunity for a lot of different people. Yes, Orwellian opportunities. I also kind of blind in one eye, so take that for what it's worth. Well, if you're blind in it, then it's not worth as much as the other one. If you got a membership from me, make sure to vote for... I would never. Just go watch the just go watch the members only videos and join the Discord and be blessed by the knowledge available to you there. Barry Basuba. Yeah, if somebody... Imagine that, eh? We're buying votes here on YouTube. Aye. I love money, so I'll go with green and independent. Yo, BMJ Shadow, legend that you are, sir. Good to see you as always, brother. Green, right? If you stick around with me long enough, you'll be like BMJ there. There'll be no red, there'll be no blue, there'll be lots and lots of green, though. Yes! Have you looked at Charge Point lately? What has it been doing? I'll just check if it's worth looking at first, and then we'll see if we're going to look at it. It's at 199. It did make a bigger move previously. What was it at? 179 or something there. Golden pocket retracement, pushed back up and tested 250. Now it's back at 199, sort of going sideways. Period of consolidation, finding support at previous resistance. 50 simples, back above the 200 period moving average, but prices in between the two. And nothing desperately exciting happened in this moment in time there. Touch of bullish divergence, but prices mostly going sideways. And that important artifact in the 50 simple likely slowing down any enthusiasm should it try to pick up. So that's what's interesting. I mean, you could maybe look at SPY if you wanted to. That would be something to get some interesting information on. Informazione. People will be like panicking about it. If you missed Rocky's show yesterday, you can find it here. There's a link. Sarah Rara put a link in. Can you pin it to the top of the chat box? I can't get the chat box to work here unless I would go on my own YouTube video, and then I could pin it maybe. I'll try and do that. But I'm gonna do it. Boom, yay. Da-dun. Advert, woo. I watched a guy on TikTok who warms up his red wine by holding it up against his forehead. That was cooler. What about that? Somebody just said, what's the Lisbon price target? As a comment on a previous video. Like, it's so ignorant. It's such an annoying, ignorant question. It may seem like of course I'll ask this guy who talks about stocks on the internet and is the only one making shows about Lisbon of any credibility. I'll ask him. Oh, somebody did pin it. Thanks so much, Sarah. Of course I'll ask him what the price target is. What people don't realize is that the price will go there because of your actions, and so they want to take advantage of your investments so that they can then liquidate and get profit long ahead of your profit taking target, and those people can fuck right off, right? Like, what? I'm not going to answer that question. Also, they want often to know when it's going to happen, which is, again, desperately ignorant thing to ask. And then to do it when I'm live currently on the comment on a different video is also absurd behavior. You know, it's absurd behavior. There is exceptions I'd make to this, right? And that is if you're from a very underprivileged background, you don't have an awful lot of means, and that you're asking me because you just can't absorb the risk, but you want to be involved in the play, then I do my best to help you. If that is the case, there's a free Discord, Discord.gg/Rocky Outcrop. I'll start that again. www.discord.gg/Rocky Outcrop, and you can go on there And you can talk to plenty of other people who'll tell you their price targets, which is informed by lots of good work we do together here in the chat box or on the videos or indeed on the Discord. And you'll be able to, from that information, come up with your own area for taking profit, right? So if I'm speaking to you right now, whoever you are, you'll be able to make that decision, take those choices, and then you'll have your own ideas, right? Instead of asking me. She's got impeccable taste. Best free Discord on the entire interwebs. Sosmic Food Cart there. They make better beer now than they did like 10 to 15 years ago. Aye. Who? Who do? Who do? You're definitely not talking about Carlsberg, right? You're definitely not talking about Carlsberg, whose beer now is rank. What happened to that? It's rank now, I think. And also, it was always a bit rank. But you used to be able to get Carlsberg Export. In fact, that was the only one you could really get because everyone knew the other one was a bit rank. Now you can't get that, and you only get the disgusting one. Yanks. Oh, Yanks make slightly better beer now, do they? Do they, though? I mean, why do you think that, Sanjo? Really? Rocky Outcrop, we have a problem, you and me, over that statement. What statement did he make? What was the statement? Tuborg is nice. Nah, I don't know. Ishmael. It's all right. I don't like Stella. I think it tastes a little bit like off. They got in on the whole craft thing. Most of the craft beer is shite, isn't it? I like the best beer. Any beer's good, right? Any beer's good. Tenants is better than it used to be, Scott, Sunjo, isn't it? I think they are kind of stuck in it though. Yeah, that's it, doesn't it? It gets to be one of those hobbies where you're not even doing it for the beer anymore. You just like the bottling, the escaping your husband or wife, the hiding in the shed part of it all. I haven't drank in a few years, but when Lisbon gets to $69, I'm buying a bottle of that Scotch and having a glass, clean, no ice, room temperature. Yeah, people put whiskey and ice in whiskey, and it's like, what are you doing? What's he doing there? You know you can do, right? You can have a little glass of water, or you could dilute it with a tiny little bit of water, and that brings out some more of the flavour of the thing. But like putting ice in it, it's just ridiculous behaviour. Sanjo Kojak, Modelo is good stuff. This is the good stuff. I've seen their adverts, but I don't think I've tasted Modelo. But I'll grab myself a bottle of Modelo and see how it is on your recommendation. What with you being a Yank? San Miguel beer seems to be flavour of the day. San Miguel, it was good, yes. San Miguel was also good about 10 years ago, 20 years ago as well. It was good. But there was this cheaper beer in Granada where they've got the Alhambra, and they had this beer called the Alhambra, and it also had a slightly better flavour, if you ask me. And it was like easier, softer, nicer. San Miguel is decent, but for what you're paying for, you could have always got like a bottle and a half of Alhambra. And you know, when you're 14, that's a big consideration. Fat Tire is a Belgian beer. It's so nice. Belgian beers are good, aye. That's true. Belgian beers are world class. Modelo is the model beer. What does that mean? Alhambra is good. Wow, no one knows about that. You're called Diana. She knows about it, do you? Did you read that? Negra Modelo is good. Is it? Okay, I'll try that one, Lisa. Yeah, that's possibly true. Like, you know, Weiss beer's all right. Belgium are also good at all of that. I'm an IPA person, not into the hazies, but a large bodied high alcohol beer balanced against its body. That's, now you're revealing a lot about yourself, sir. From that, we can tell so much about your personality and your experience. Well, it's been a time, but now I must away to Ronaldo. Tools and thanks. Bye. That's Katie. She's like the one-eyed monster. Say bye-bye to Katie, the one-eyed monster. The best regularly available pint these days is Birra Moretti, in my opinion. Moretti. Aye, it's good too. You're right, that is a good shout, that one. Estrella and San Miguel are good too. Spain makes good beer. Yo, Estrella, yeah, it's Rocky Outcrop. Good points there. Or a white ale of sorts. Yes, Lakeside Trader. Weiss beer. In Maryland, we have Yingling. The fuck? That is not what I would have not expected that name to be, that a beer from Maryland. Though I bet Maryland's great at making beer, Sarah. I'm not a hoppy guy. Edinburgh smells like hops because we make a lot of beer. and when it's not windy and doesn't blow it away. I said this before, there was a beer factory just next door to the cheese sandwich factory, and they were making beer, and they hadn't used one of their chimneys for a while, so when they started firing it up, there was a lot of standing water in it, which evaporated, and then it gave people all over Edinburgh Legionnaire's disease, which isn't funny. It's not funny at all, but it still is pretty funny. Youngling, the first brewery in America, the greatest beer ever. Youngling. First beer in America was invented by a Chinese person then. That's sort of what that seems to suggest. Is that true? If so, I'd say, like, maybe that's the way history is recorded details, but it would have been much more likely it would have been an Irish brewery would be the first one I would have thought. Modelo reminds me of my first kitchen job in a shitty Mexican restaurant in Aberdeen. Does it? That can't be that great. This is like, I'm getting some notes on what beer to try right now. So if you're wondering what the show's all about, that you can also take that utility from it. What is the go-to Scottish lager? Well, if you're looking for something on tap in a pub, it's nearly always going to be Tennent's, because you know the way that pubs work, right? There's such tight margins, and the poor landlords can't make any money. How did that narrative get any traction? It's not true at all. Anyway, some pubs are run absolutely shitly, and so they need to borrow money to buy the thing in the first place because it's an aspirational purchase, and they don't know how to run that business, or they want proper financing deals, and you can get much cheaper loans from the large breweries and these large companies that make beer breweries. You can get much cheaper financing from them than you can from the bank, except then you're only allowed to sell their beers, and one of them is Tennent's. You often don't get Tennent's in the same place you'll get Carling, though, which is like the English equivalent and tastes nearly exactly the same and is crap. Tennent's is slightly better because it's associated with Scotland. Also, what else do you get? McEwen's lager in Scotland, less and less of that going around. And then you get Iron Brew. Like Iron Brew do. Yes, like Iron Brew do. Do you speak Gaelic? Yes. I speak a de Gaelic. Yes. Kajamar Tattoo will feel lucky. Yes, those options cover it all. Bira Busaba. Bira Busaba. What's the other, Scott? What's the other big, sorry, Mr. Sunjo Kojak there. What is the other popular beers in Scotland before I forget myself? Got it, thanks. A pint of tea it is. Yeah. My Spanish friend here, who does tours, so he's back and forth recently a few times, came round with some Tennent's the other day, and my other brother, who's the older one, not Rocky, he was here, and the Spanish friend walked in with the Tennent's. Him and my older brother had met once, uni years in the past, and my older brother said, "Oh, not fucking Tennent's, that's disgusting." So we just drank it all and didn't give him any. Brewdog is Scottish. Yes, Brewdog is Scottish, but the company is run by a bit of a dum-dum who behaves in a very unethical way, so we won't be talking about stupid Brewdog or any of their ridiculous behaviour. Caledonian IPA. Boddingtons? No, it doesn't have. Hi, my older brother, Stephen McTavish. No, John, he said that so he didn't get to experience any of the beautiful Tennent's. Though he didn't need to, and we all went out to the pub, so who cares, right? But anyway, that's what it is. It's just a funny retelling of events there. And it's expensive. Yeah, it's expensive so they can pay for all for their wasted margins in a terribly run business. Is he not being kicked out because he was abusing his staff or something, though? Certainly compromised their IPO, that's for sure. Lamal, that is so rude. What did we say? IPM seemed to have taken over. Yeah, to get slightly better margins there, innit? When you can get it made and you can abuse the little producer a little bit more. So, like, people are like, oh, we've got so many different craft beers. Come and enjoy our craft beers. And it's mostly so that the people selling them get a better margin and can, like, put the power of that dynamic in the market and say, look, we're the ones selling it. We're not going to pay any more than X, Y, or Z. And because they're just a little producer that rely on people selling and buying and selling their beer for them, then they get pushed around a little bit much. So until such times as they like manage to turn themselves into some huge conglomerate, then I expect that dynamic to be exploited further. Called it body, and it was well into it for a while. Not had a pint of it for about a decade now. Boddingtons can't be Scottish. It must be English. Trace Botton, as a home brewer making only IPAs, I take offence. Barry Basuba, they're pushing you around, buddy. I would take offence too. I haven't even seen Biddingtons in the shop for donkeys. Yeah. I mean, it'll be in shops in like Sheffield or something, right? What are we talking about Boddingtons for? It's totally not Scottish. I haven't even seen it. Yeah, well, why would you? It's just horrible, though, isn't it? You wouldn't want to, right? Dutch make a lot of beer. Gross. Gross. Gross have got some really not funny adverts, eh? Well, they don't anymore because they can't afford them, but they used to have. Never seen Gross. Yes. This doesn't taste very nice. Beck's is fine. You know, Beck's is alright. Is it not American or is it German? I'm probably embarrassing myself now, but Beck's is fine. Tell you what a shit beer is, Rolling Rock. It's not even alcoholic, is it? I mean, it's probably not. It's like 2 or 3%. I think Rolling Rock, but it's cheap. It's not got any alcohol in it. Yeah, it's just not. I mean, that's fine if that's what you're going for, right? I regularly drink things that don't have alcohol in them. I was just going to say. I was just going to say. My mum used to drink Rolling Rock whenever we went to Pizza Hut in the 90s. Okay. We'll come back to that in a moment. Damn, now I want one. You can have one. St Andrews Brewing Company. You're just now saying the name of places in Scotland and just sticking Brewing Company on the end of it. That might work. Decaf Guinness. Yes, decaf. Draft Guinness. Not point not alcohol free stout. On a Thursday, it's alcohol free. But yeah, I mean, you could have 1 pint on a Thursday. It wouldn't matter too much. I wouldn't judge you anyway. My go-to pint for the last several years has been Guinness. Yes, it's pretty good, isn't it? It's nearly ready already. It's hard to beat Guinness, right? It's good for you and stuff. I think I told this story too before, but once I had atypical ammonia and they found it in my spinal fluid when I was really young, and then the doctor said, you know, you'll need to get his iron levels up to help him recover. So I got given a bottle of Guinness. They didn't have an alcohol-free option that my dad was particularly interested in buying. So I think I was like, I don't know, 7 or younger, maybe just a little bit younger. Anyway, I could hardly walk and stuff afterwards. It was really bad. Got really ill. And the only way I recovered was by drinking Guinness and getting drunk all the time. if we're going to go into bad beer choices, then I will admit in college I was on a bus with a 24-pack of Natty Light under every seat on the 24th trip to Colorado Springs. I've never heard of Natty Light, but it sounds crap. It's just a pint of alcohol-free Guinness. You can't judge me. You can't judge me. So what are our top beers then? We can't do, but you can pin a message, but you can't start a poll, can you, Sarah? That's a serious childhood condition. It is, isn't it? Serious. Atypical pneumonia, finding it in your spinal fluid. I had to do a lumbar pumper to get there. That was horrible. Can't imagine managing a drunk 7-year-old Jamie. Yep. But I couldn't really get around all that much, so you just had to put me in a room with a Guinness and leave. That was it. Quickly, lock the door. I may be able to. It's business I can try. You can. Let's start a poll. Let's try. I don't know if you can. We can at least put it in. Like we could do a manual poll before the technology existed, where we go A, B, C, D. and then you have to put it in, but then somebody has to count the results, and I don't know if I'm going to do it for you. That's Irish parents for you. Iron deficiency, here's some Guinness. Drink it or you're grounded. Yeah, and then my dad would say, well, Jamie's drinking Guinness. I can have one. Ishmael, the banquet beer. We've got a banquet beer. Who's having banquets nowadays? You've heard of inflation and price gouging. They ain't no banquets nowadays. What? Maybe I'm a weirdo, but I prefer Corona without lime in it. Same here. Why do they keep putting lime in it? It's like, oh, I'll stick this lime in it and I'll squeeze the lime into it for you without even asking you now. Without even asking you. For some reason they think that you'd order Corona because you want the lime. That's what it seems to be. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to shift the limes or something. They're really trying to move these limes. Trace Point, I heard that if there's a sploshing tomorrow, you are giving us a free round of coffee to some US side member. Is that true? KT or Katja says yes. Half a kilo, a pound of coffee for a US member of the. How do we make it so it only goes to a Discord member? I suppose we do some sort of a pull it out of a hat type thing. MacTavish, yo MacTavish. Makes it summery. Yeah. It doesn't though, eh? It makes it horrible. I mean, you'd be drinking Corona in the summertime anyway. You're not going to drink Corona at Christmas. When Guinness exists in that. Also, it's not just Guinness. You know, you've got the other stouts that are pretty good. They've got this beer in Ireland called Harp, which is like, I swear to God, they must put salt in it. They must put salt in it. Because like you're halfway through a pint of it and you're like, God, I need another one. Like I really need another one. Like this is not going to last because I'm so thirsty. The more of it you drink, the more thirsty you get. Discord, only collectibles in the Discord. Right, well, we'll be collecting the names in the Discord and we'll be pulling them out of a hat. And we'll have a sploshing tomorrow, a particularly spectacular sploshing. Okay, I'm going to get a 6-pack of Fat Tire. We're doing this. Harp is normal Irish Tenants, isn't it? Yeah, it's like Northern Irish Tenants, only with salt in. Or is that Bass? A pint of Bass. I will win, said a pound of coffee. I will win, said pound of coffee. Well, if your name gets pulled out of the hat, then you will win it, indeed. You can give it away in this blushing, but it must be collected in a Discord. Collected? Yeah, you have to go to the Discord to collect it, so you'll have to be a member of the Discord there to get it. That's another great tip then. So if you're looking to join the paid side of Discord, this is a particularly good week because tomorrow's sploshing and you could be in with winning a chance of a pound or whatever you want to call it, right? Half a kilogram of coffee. And it's the best roasted coffee beans in the world that I've ever tried anyway, by a large distance. And you could be in with a chance of winning that, which is great. Then on Saturday, Safas is hosting a chat, a webinar that would otherwise cost money, and it is very valuable and useful, and a lot of people will be interested in it, for how you can regulate your nervous system. Now, this isn't some hocus pocus. This is like the biological evolution of human beings. How you can get nervous with a fight and flight reaction, or how stress can lead to poor decision making, or simply how through periods of trauma you can spiral mentally, and that would be prompted by physiological reactions. So it's great to be able to arrest that process, put yourself in the eye of the storm, and control your outlook and your biological processes when you're under extreme stress. This helps for all traders to make clean, clear decisions in moments of intense stress. Can lead to better reactions to unexpected events. And even if you feel like you don't need to benefit from these type of behaviors and these type of lessons, you can certainly in future potentially experience a moment where they'll come in handy, which is why it's worthwhile taking advantage now. And furthermore, it's very likely that somebody else in your life at some stage will go through a period of trauma and you could give them some handy, helpful tips and advice. So definitely think about doing that kind of thing. It's on Saturday. CFAS is hosting it, 3rd of August. You'll get it if you're a paid side member of Discord. So if you were thinking of joining the paid side of Discord, this is a really good month to do it, and you'd be in really good company with really good people, and also potentially winning some coffee and getting extra benefit from that hosted chat from CFAS about how to control your nervous system. And it's a good one too. I've had a little bit of a look at the details that he's going to be talking about, and I think that's very worthwhile and it's very valuable. And he's very generous contributing his skills. So that's two people who are contributing from their own lives and their own businesses, the sweat off their own back. Well, you're not getting that, right? If you want it, maybe you're right. There probably is some people who be able to arrange that for you, but that's not what's offered. What offered is the hard work that they're putting in to create a business, which isn't easy, especially in today's day and age, right? With Zoomer generations who've got no faith in their own abilities and think that everything's rigged against them in a way that they can never overcome, right? They've got no courage of their own convictions either, these young people nowadays. They're a bunch of chickens. It's kind of embarrassing, a lot of it. Anyway, not like back in my day, right, when the internet was black and white and we had to save God save the Queen and so on. We believed in the courage of our own convictions, and it's just why my generation, and likely yours, set up loads of businesses, changed the world, and kept driving America and Western society forward. But there's less and less of that nowadays because of so many weak-willed Milky Bar kid type people, right? Shout out to Sunjo Kojak for that joke, right? There's plenty of these Milky Bar kids floating around nowadays, and this is super embarrassing, right? They don't have the courage of their own convictions. They'll never be able to take a proper trade, and they behave like fannies in the stock market. They also have no entrepreneurial abilities, and so they don't start businesses. So there's only very few of these amazing people around, and if you're one of them, hat off to you. Well done, more power to your elbow. Good old folks there. Scuba Gang is full of entrepreneurs, YouTubes. So if you do run a business that has any product or service that you think could add value to the paid side of Discord, and you'd like to contribute to this community with that type of offer, then you'd be very welcome to do so, right? You can host a prize. It doesn't have to be a product. It could be a service like CFAS, and give back to the community, and we'd very much appreciate that here. We'd schedule you in at a time and place of your choosing and make sure that everybody else was able to benefit off that good work. And maybe if they all really like it, like for example KT's coffee, then you'd be coming back and getting more, nearly guaranteed. Coffee there definitely would be. So if you've got something you'd like to contribute, we'd be very likely to appreciate and offer that out there. I don't know about the milky, but it made me think of Aero bars. The mint ones are delightful. Aero. If you're eating an Aero and it's not a mint Aero, what are you doing? You should be eating a Whisper. You should be eating a Whisper. And if you're eating a Whisper, why would you eat a normal Whisper when you can eat the caramel Whisper? You know, so there is no place for a non-mint Aero or a non-caramel Whisper. Right? It just isn't, right? It just isn't. No. Anyway, right? It just isn't. And what did they do to Boost bars? Why are they not around anymore? Lots of great movie and show recommendation in the culture, Freds. Whisper Gold. Yeah, Whisper Gold are amazing. Orange Arrow exists. Orange Arrow, yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, we could go an Orange Arrow, but then like there's Terry's chocolate orange, isn't it? So, which is much better. So why would you bother going with an Orange Arrow when you can go with a Mint Arrow or a Terry's chocolate orange? And I know you're going to say, but a Terry's chocolate orange costs like 4 times as much, and that's just more motivation to trade better, isn't it? I'm going to name the next crosses I make X tubes and BMJs. Reading that, I'm thinking the next crosses he's gonna and then gonna pin you up on them. Boom. Good to see you, Jake. XD, I would be honoured. You lucky. It probably means rock or something, Diana Stevens. What are we talking about now? I'm getting lost. It probably means rock or something. Nah, I still don't get it. I could read it out 10 times and wouldn't get it. Can you do OSHA safety talks? We give out Terry's chocolate orange and stockings for Christmas. Holy shit, you guys must be minted in your house, no doubt. You must be absolutely minted. You're all about Christmas, though. Hence the name. Sarah, I found my electric screwdriver. Let's do this. I was going to make a joke there, but I'll not. Jake Claws! Keep up, trace. Keep up, trace button. Keep up what? Keepy uppies. What are we talking about? Keep up trade. Oh, in the chat box. Yeah, sure, I'll do that. I'll keep up in the chat box. Yeah, can I make it so that more chat messages make it on? It seems a little bit restrictive with just those. Nah, it just gets bigger. I can't get any more on the chat box. Why is that? You would think like they'd give me slightly more. A melee weapon. What are we talking about here? A little kosh. What's a good effective melee weapon? You know those searing stakes, the electric ones you get knives for like cutting through bone and stuff. For like chopping up like lamb's legs or something. Making lamb's chops. Or like going through the ribs and whatnot. I was using one of them the other day with the two blades that go back and forth like that there, and I was thinking this would make a really good melee weapon. Like this would be handy. Chocolate orange in a stocking. Oh, that's the melee weapon. What tool? This tool. Tering's chocolate orange tool. Oh yeah, I chop up bones all the time. It's chubby, but we always fun to see what we can find. No, I'm really not following now. Jobby is an interesting stock. Chad Tang, what methods gets you the most money if I want to tip on YouTube? Join YouTube or use the link that is not YouTube. Right now, 15 to 25 months is the budget. 15 to 25 a month is the budget. Yo, Chad Tang, that's such a generous statement. That's such a positive message. The best return for me is if you use the link underneath the description not affiliated with YouTube, which I could check now as well and see if anything's come in there, because sometimes I miss these and during a live show, which is my own fault. I have to be sure to keep everything neat and tidy here. Made it neat and tidy and want to keep it that way. So I move that over and then I go here. Interesting. Good message there from the Owl on the Discord about Craig Hallam's opinion on LivePerson. So if you haven't seen that, it's worth checking it out. Worth checking it out. What was I doing? Oh yeah, I was supposed to be going here. Oh no, can I not see it here? I can. This is on Streamlabs. I can see it here. This is the link, right? This is Streamlabs link. Pete Raisin Sizzle. Tip $50 40 minutes ago. How did I not see that? Holy shit. Pete Raisin Sizzle. Very generous. Very much appreciated. Thank you very much, Pete. Hope Pete didn't leave in between times and then I missed him. He put in $50. Bloody heck. So that link there, BMJ Shadow just shared it. That is the way. Thank you very much for the question, Tad. Then what I would say to everybody who's considering doing these kind of things, though, is, well, first off, thanks so much. That's so generous. And we should shame people who don't think that way too, shouldn't we? We definitely should. And so shame on them. And well done you by distinguishing yourself from those shameful others. Also, I always advocate for you doing the best thing of your own interest. Now, that's very much true to keep TraceBot happy. But also, there are these other options, right? Like joining as a channel member. Now, that isn't going to benefit me as much because YouTube take like a 30% cut off the top. They've got a transaction fee, and then it's taxed at source, even though I'm going to have to pay tax here anyway, which means it's lots of extra work. And then on top of that, I have to transfer it between different accounts, and it comes through in different currency and stuff and so on and whatever and different things. I'm not sure if that currency thing's true, but like in the end, it means that I have to convert different things, and it costs way more. It takes so much of the margin off the top of things. It's silly, especially if it's like a lower amount. It just absorbs so much that it's not an efficient way of doing things. But if you were to become a channel member, you get access to lots and lots of videos. All the videos, loads and loads and loads of videos. Also, your name's lighted up in chat there. People recognize it more often, and you tend to get like better answers from the community and whatnot. So that's an advantage to taking that option that benefits you a lot. And then even better, I would say, if you're trying to make a choice, like, am I going to be a channel member or am I going to be on the paid side of Discord? Then the paid side of Discord is the best option. Now, these are all different values, and they're not all possible for everybody. Yo, Barry Bus Barry, I keep calling you Barry Busba when I know your name is Barry Basuba. Thank you very much, Barry Basuba. With another 5 gifted memberships. What lucky people here getting all these gifted memberships. Toffee Taro 18. Is that a chocolate bar? That sounds good. Welcome. Welcome very much so. Remind me to tell you the funny story about the dumbass on Twitter in a minute, right? Anyway, that becoming a channel member is a very good option because it gets you loads of shit. Whereas, if you can make the best decision in your interests, it would be to be on the paid side of Discord, where you will be then associated with and alongside the best of the best traders here in the community. And above all of that, the best option for you is to take the trading course so that you understand what it is that I'm talking about on these live shows and can make the most of your own trading. Also, you'll be then well versed in Rocky and I's philosophy with regards to technical analysis, and you'll get an even greater degree of respect from those people who are on the Discord. Like, for example, today and yesterday in the free LivePerson thread, there was a couple of people like freaking out a little bit. Let's put it kindly. No, it isn't. That's what it was. They were freaking out a little bit. That's not putting it kindly. That's saying what it was. Putting it kindly would be to say there was a couple of emotional reactions. And when I say a couple, it was more than that because there's an awful lot of people on there now. And it would be true that that sort of thing is really good traders on the Discord see that sort of thing and they think, eek. And then they go to a different place and they do and they do something else because you know what it's like, right? You just great traders who are exceptional at doing what they do. They can make a lot of money trading, and so when they want to help somebody, they want to help somebody where they can like really make a big difference. And the biggest difference they can make, the exceptional traders in this community, isn't taking you from level 2 to level 3 or level 3 to level 5. It's when you, on your own best efforts, only ever manage to make it to level 38, and they know what it is to make it through that struggle and effort and that incredibly exponential commitment and the endeavor it is to get up to level 39 and level 40. Now I'm just making up numbers here, but you know what I'm saying. Like the higher end of the scale, trying to make consistent improvement when you've already come so far isn't actually easier. It's maybe harder. And so the experts, the lieutenants, the best of the best, often that's where you see them helping other people. So I'm not saying they avoid emotional traders, which wouldn't be true because a lot of their time and a lot of their effort is engaged in helping everybody, and there is no hierarchy on the Discord. It's you distinguish yourself by your kindness and your generosity to your peers on there. That's the way it works. Other than the mods, who are should be respected at all times. It's there's no other hierarchy. But people's commitment to their own development obviously distinguishes themselves, and it leads you to then get better help from other people. And so I would say taking the course where you get that icon beside your name and everybody in the course side sees you're involved in the group chats, and then the weekly lessons hosted by Lucas or Jake or Lucas and Jake. And you then get noticed by really significant traders like Hans or Wiki Wilkes as well, who themselves are exceptional at what they do. Or not going into their background and what it is that made them so good, but most people of their quality have been steeled in some form of adversity, and it's true for both of those real legends. Absolutely amazing. You'll know Wiki Wilkes. He was the one who spotted the opportunity on the option chain, which was then later exploited by Roaring Kitty. You'll have been here and watched that. If you weren't, you will have seen it on Discord and been part of that conversation, which we recorded and put up live there. And Wiki Wilkes, absolute legend. He also has deployed his skills in such a way that added to the great opportunity we have here in LivePerson. And then you've got other people now there like Jake and Lucas who've taught so many traders that they themselves can't help but being absolutely brilliant at what they're doing. Oh yeah, that Wiki Wilkes clip got 20,000 views on TikTok. Boom. Oof. Hey, not so many likes. Yeah, but TikTokers are gosh darn selfish, aren't they? They've got a really short attention span, and if they're going to use their hand, it's to swipe on to the next thing. There's not a culture of hitting the old like button as much there. Thanks so much, Sarah Herrera. Never stops putting in the effort to help grow the community. Total legend there. Trade spotting, and sometimes you have dumbasses like me who take an unrelated conversation on a live person thread hyping TA. Barry Basuba. Yeah, there's shitloads of people that do that sort of thing. It's okay that it happens. That's not a problem. It's just it does mean that every so often somebody, often a mod, maybe myself, would say, "Oh, this could be a conversation we could have somewhere else," and that then helps facilitate a return to the conversation at hand, which can be helpful. So don't worry about it at all. It's not a problem. Barry Basuba, you're very, very generous, sir. Very, very generous. And the way that you said that too, I appreciate and respect that. Thank you very much, my friend. And it doesn't matter if every so often a conversation goes like that way. That's the way it is, right? I also shared, what was that video? The gin and the gin soaked belly earlier on it. And at the time I was doing it, I was like, eek, this is kind of only just sneaking in terms of relevance. Rocky Outcrop level 42, and we can accept that with grace. Dummy on Twitter story. Oh yeah, there was this dummy on Twitter. He asked like, how long will it how is it possible? Right now, he was bullish on GameStop, and he asked, and I wasn't trying to disabuse him of that opinion at all. He asked, how is it possible that GameStop could go to zero with 4 billion cash on hand? And I answered him, right, to say that if their main product line disappears and you're to look at their cost basis, you could see that that 4 billion would evaporate relatively quickly. Certainly within 4 years, it could all be gone. If it is that the main product line disappeared completely tomorrow, then the company wouldn't have that 4 billion this time next year. It's also true to say that they did a cash raise previously. They got a couple of billion, and nearly one of those billion was shaved off the top within a year. So that was before they managed to implement a strong cost cut and reduction program. And so I said to him, well, I mean, buddy, here it is, right? I mean, if the main product line disappears, that 4 billion could disappear. If it is that that's going to happen, the market will perceive these actions in advance, and then that'll lead to increased shorting activity, less buying pressure. The implications for the dynamic with demand and supply will push price down. And if it does slip below critical levels, then it'll start losing its listing on various indexes. It eventually would achieve a delinquency notice, at which point it would be sent to OTC. That'll destroy the investor movement that's driving the price, and it'll likely lead to a huge divestment of all of the DRS shares. Now, I said that in a more concise, even kinder way in the first instance, and he turned around and said, "Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?" Something totally stupid, right? And I said, "Oh well, no, I'm not kidding. I mean, like, this is what you asked. That was the question." And then somebody else comes along and they're like, "That's not fucking happening. That's fucking impossible. You fucking regard," right, in a less friendly way. And I said, "No, it's a fact. That's the way maths works. Like, you can math, right?" And the other guy said something else offensive. I was like, "You can read, right? I mean, I'm writing these things. You could at least read it, right? It was your stupid question. Don't blame me for the conversation when you instigated it with a stupid ass question." And then other people piled in and they're like, blah, 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 blah. Stupid ass shit. And one of them was called Dead Person or something, Dead Guy. And so I was advocating for the idea of looking at LivePerson as a positive alternative. If you're going to behave like a silly billy on the internet, then maybe you should look into these things. Anyway, I can't really remember. There was a very funny part to the story, but I can't remember what it is right now because I was distracting myself with my own fantastic analysis of how GameStop could waste all the money that they've managed to get by diluting shareholders. Which is totally possible, it could happen. Make it look like a rocket ship. Yeah, somebody could go on the GameStop chart and make it look like an upside down rocket ship, in which case it could go to zero. We could have billions. This is the thing, right? General Motors were close to bankruptcy. They had billions and 16 billion or something on hand. Like, it doesn't like people just don't get it. It's understandable, like that you would see the unfairness and the complexity of the stock market, and when you start unraveling certain aspects of it, you would feel like particular power dynamics and conflicts of interest work against the best outcomes for the market at large, and you would think that there's a suspicious nature to the way that the financial industrial complex has managed to capture the regulators who are supposed to provide oversight over those industries, right? You would think that that's obviously true and part of a trend across the greater sphere in America of all possible industries. You can see that most of these regulators are captive to the large companies. The revolving door at these regulators, how those staff come and go from the big companies, how they then have all the contextual knowledge on how to skirt the rules, how the people that then get installed in those businesses typically have that knowledge on how to get around all the important regulations, and then vice versa, the people who are put into those regulators are often done come from those companies themselves, and so have got personal relationships that help facilitate that abuse of the law, or indeed the Congress in America, which is heavily influenced by political financing, will then nominate or choose people to work in these regulators, which means that the regulators themselves are effectively neutered and so don't provide proper oversight, never mind address the issues that are involved. Now, the SEC, they get their money from fining companies. And if you look back on the last year of SEC revenue, the vast majority of it came from know your customer regulations that they use to fine crypto exchanges, right? Now, is that where the main unfairness and disparity and rule breaking exists in the stock market at large, in crypto firms not properly administering know your customer laws? No, it isn't, right? That's silly. Is it true to say, though, that shitloads of money passes through these firms in a washing process that then facilitates other crimes? Like, yeah, maybe, but nowhere near as much as going through the US dollar, right? Like, that's not the focus for closing down money laundering, is we'll target crypto exchanges. That's a extreme perversion of that problem that needs to be fixed. The reason that the SEC gets most of its money by suing crypto exchanges for know your customer regulation breaches is because they can't go after the real criminals, because those are the people keeping them in a job and that's their boss. So they raise their money instead in this other shitty little way, which is a drop in the ocean, doesn't make any fucking difference. And so the SEC are now a captive regulator of that financial industrial complex. It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem in America. It can't be properly addressed because of the nature of the toxic political divisiveness there. And it'll take somebody with the insight, with the skills, with the experience, who's able to not just see these problems, but effectively address them. And at the same time, it's going to take somebody with superhuman talent in being able to articulate to the public at large what the problem is, so that they get the time and the flexibility to enact the change that's necessary. Now, do you know anybody on earth that's going to ever be able to do that job, right? Do you know anyone who's ever been able to even properly explain that problem to you before in any way that you would be able to digest it, understand it, and take it away, explain it to somebody else in a couple of minutes? I don't think there's another human being walking this planet that could do it other than perhaps me. Now, that sounds very big-headed, but then, like, um, it sounds that way because I'm only explaining myself to be very, very good. The truth is, in reality, I'm extremely fucking amazing at doing this stuff. So it's quite humble, in fact, when you really compare what I said to my actual abilities. And that's why they call me the humble mumble from the East. And I could blow in and fix these problems, but no one's going to want me to do that, right? Apart from a few people watching this chat box, right? Nobody's like that. It would be antithesis to the people in power to have someone like me kicking around in the corridors over there. So that's not going to ever happen. Though I would do the job if you wanted me to. That's not the point, though. We're getting a little bit carried away now. So yeah, so there's this captive regulation. Why are we talking about the captive regulators? I'm sure there's some reason there. I'm sure there's some reason. Though I can't remember what it was. It's something to do with Guinness, maybe. You have to have nerve. You just nerve. When I was a child, my arms swelled up like balloons. Rocky Outcrop, Mr. Rocky Outcrop, bringing us back on topic. And I like both of the brothers. They work in different ways, different styles. Yes, we've got different styles. Very accommodating for each other in that way too. Humble Mumble from the East. It's pretty fantastic. It is, isn't it? It's nice. He got a negative bluey with a crack handle and ended up in a Jessup. The camera shop. That would be a hilarious comedy movie. Jamie has to be president of the US even though he doesn't want to. I don't want to be president of the US. No. I'm also Scottish, so until such times as you discover my parents' true heritage and that I was actually born, on a helicopter that was currently in the airspace above an American territory, until such times as people actually discover that on my passport, then they'll never let me in. Any relativity to the beast from the East? Yo, Mac Tavish. No, who is that? I've never heard of them. Who are they? I'm the Humble Mumble from the East. I don't think we have. I mean, how far east are you guys talking? I might be like in the mid east. See, Israel attacked Iran a couple of days ago now and killed what's his face, and it hardly made the news. Hardly made the news. You know, also hardly made news. Britain cut interest rates, and that hardly made the news either. We could fudge a paper trail. We could fudge one. Yeah, we could fudge one. You'd probably get away with that, right? Probably. The reluctant president. The reluctant president. Do you know you've had a number of, like, in the last 50 years, was there been something like, what is it, like 7 or something? Maybe I'm wrong and exaggerating. It's only 4. But there's been like, I think there's been like 7 assassination attempts in the last 50 years over US presidents. Definitely been at least 4. Which means that there's like nearly one every 10 years. There's been at least 4 that have involved a gun, right? Isn't that right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Not that you guys are going to know. Reluctance is always a scam. I am very reluctant to do a lot of different things, and I'm for sure it's not a scam. Scots can't be US president, but there's nothing stopping an American from becoming a Prime Minister of England. I don't want that job either, to be honest. Reluctant is a hilarious looking word. This is kind of turning into us blushing, isn't it? What time is it? It's 2:15 in the morning. What the flying fuck? How did that happen? Well, I've got half a thing of Guinness, so I suppose we have to continue now. Wilful Lucky. Some people here mistake bullets for ballots. It's a shame, really. It is, yeah. Bullets for ballots. Bullets for ballots. That's what I'll be campaigning for. Bullets for ballots. Everybody, bullets for ballots. That's what we want. We're pretty consistent with one about every 15 years since 1865. Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, it's just not worth it, right? What are you going to be able to do anyway, right? Not very much. You'll have noticed with recent promises from various presidents that they come in and they're going to say they're going to do all X, Y, and Z to sort out your domestic situation, but they're unable to do so because of the congested nature of the political system in America, in that you've got the president who's got executive control, but like that doesn't really mean much. And then you've got the Senate who are supposed to make the real decisions, but like they're too stupid to be able to do that. And then below them you've got Congress who really like provide oversight and start putting important people in positions, but they're all captive to those people who fund their political aspirations, so they're not able to do much either. And all three of these tiers work against each other so that nothing ever fucking gets done. And then the only real power an American president has is over their, the geopolitical impact on the world at large, which, your American presidents don't seem to be desperately intelligent, and in large part keep making stupid ass mistakes. They're also super, super old, really, so they don't get much done. And that's the way it tends to go over and over and over. Plus then you've got American foreign policy, which is hugely controlled by the State Department, which is very much about expanding American influence from a capital perspective. And so, that's the main focus. And why wouldn't it be, right? Capitalism leads to greater opportunity for the most deprivileged in society, so us underprivileged. So it's hard to argue against that actually being the most effective future for people. So the American president doesn't do much, and if the chances are you're going to get shot, I'd rather not take the job. 20 memberships from Barry Basuba. Boom! 5 for 20 fucking Jesus supers creepers. Pardon me not using the Mr. Creeper's name in vain there. Holy shit, yo. Captain Jack Daniels got one, I see. Prolific Fitz. Alrighty. Some are recognize some names in there. Yo. Free McFreeferson. You're back, Free McFreeferson. Good to see you all. Jack Burton, congratulations. Welcome back to the family. You're now all married to Barry Basuba, who's got so many new wives. Welcome. Think about renewing your membership there. There's a button down beside the subscribe below, right, where you can click to renew or upgrade. Even better, clicking to upgrade, because then you'll be renewing and upgrading. Definitely think about doing it. Brilliant options there. You'll get to see all of the past live videos. You'll get to see loads of educational videos. And then everything I get in those moments where I like have a reaction with low blood sugar and just start flicking everything into members only, members only. You'll also get access to all of that. And that's the good shit. So you should definitely think about extending and upgrading and renewing and all of those good things. Thanks so much, Barry Basuba, with that incredibly generous gift there. Where is my thing that should be showing up that does that stuff? If I go here, and then I go here, and then I do like that, and then I go here, and then I go like that, does that make it happen? It might do, you know. That might make it all happen. And then I go over there and put that up. That might work. I think that might do it. Thank you very much. It's appreciated. Doing some trading during my refresher classes for refresher class, Tom Lol. Hey Tom, what have you been saying? How's it going? My microbiome is a corporation. Corporation, from the Latin, body of the state. So suppose, you know, it actually is a corporation, really. It isn't like, I read somewhere once that like a significant amount of your weight is actually like parasitic bacteria that just exists within us. As human beings, our genomes have been so highly affected by all these different bacteria we've lived with over the years that we're not really ourselves anyway. So if you were to elect me as president, you'd actually be electing shitloads of bacteria. Probably do a fairly good job though, considering. And on that day, over 100 memberships were gifted. Is that true? It's over 100 now. Holy shit. 25. Cheers again, Pete, for that. And Barry Basuba, 20 again. So that's 45. 46. And then Barry Basuba before that. 10's 56. And then Justin Pickrell, and before that there was 10 from Minner, that's 66. And before that was Barry Basuba, was 10, that's 76. And then Barry Basuba was the one that was 77. 77. It seems to be only 77, not over 100. 20, so now I'm disappointed. See, this is the problem with managing expectations, right? Now we're missing our target by approximately a quarter, right? Which is a terrible, terrible result, Sost. 20 plus 5, that's 25, plus another 20 is 45, plus 1 is 46, plus 10 is 56, 66, 76, 77, 82, no, 77. Still getting closer. Still getting closer. Oh, Sosty. Man, imagine what you could go on to achieve if you could count. It would be incredible, right? Not only would you be an incredibly nice guy with huge potential here as a trader, with extremely strong qualities, with patience, with the ability to like stay on a level, calm your emotional reaction. You're an incredibly hard worker. You're committed. You're kind. You know, but you're not counting right. This counting thing, we need to get that fixed. Trade spotting. Read my last chat, Barry Basuba. What did it say? I'll read it. It's gone off the chat screen, so I'll not be able to see it, but I'll be able to find it somehow, if I can, somewhere, somehow. How can I find it? I go to the chat on the phone, that's where, and then I scroll up. I just realised it. I've got it, Barry. Where is it here? Oh my god, why are you going landscape? I did not ask for that phone. Oh my god, now it's full screen me. I definitely didn't ask for that. If only I could count and read. That is very aggressive gifting. Cheers, you wonderful people. Isn't it? It's incredible. No one should be expected to count. Totally. Read my last chat. Sale and disco later on. See you later, Justin. Welcome to the night shift. Hey, thanks. You all need bigger guns. It's a true story. I think it's time for bed here. Shanjo Kojak. It might be 222, 22, 22. Good to see you, buddy. I have horrendous insomnia, so I feel you on the late night thing. Willful Lucky. Feel free, buddy. Feel free there. Only 2 attempts since 1980. Only 2 attempts on knocking out the Prez. Is that what we're talking about? Oh, I suppose that's an achievement, right? That you've managed to keep it to 2 attempted assassinations. Fucking japers. Since I've been around. Until then, thought I stumbled upon a Thursday's blush and looking forward to Lipson tomorrow in a $1 save space. Yo, right until then. Same here. 4 assassinations, 3 shot injured, 3 attempts at injured others, 4 attempts with no one harmed. Wow, how shit are they? They 4 attempts and nobody even got hurt. And that'll have ruined their life and they were a complete fanny and they did it all for nothing. That's amazing. We got some pretty big ones, Rocky, but you're right. What are we talking about? Rocky's nearly right all the time. Who knew? Thank you for gifting memberships. That's nice. There's people thanking people as well. That's good to see. Yo, Traceborn. I'm going to be doing some trading tomorrow during my refresher class from Tom. Refresher class tomorrow, lol. What's that mean? Barry Basuba, where's this message? You can say it again and I will get it. Read my last chat. I can't find anything, Barry. I can't get to it. Do you know what you said? Can you say it again? What are we? American. What do we want? Rank won't stop tweeting. That'd be a big one. I'm getting that feeling. We're all in such a good mood. When do we want it? Now. I reposted it already. Shit. Where is it? I'll go and find it. I think. Making up for part of RC and partly my own trespass and serious trading threads. No, you'll never need to do that, sir. We're 100% forgiven immediately. There's no making up need to be done. You're now stretching your lead out far in front of everyone else in terms of your generosity. There was never any making up need to be done, buddy. At all, really. If I was ever commenting on these things, it was just a direct conversation so that those people who were following along who didn't feel involved in that particular conversation could then get back involved in the overall chat. And then, if I remember anyway, it was a pleasant conversation you were having about something. I can't actually remember, but I think it was. So that's very positive, and it's no trespass at all, and it's really appreciated, and you definitely made up for it. If that was the message you meant, if it was a different message, then what could it possibly have been? Wait, what is it we wanted? Exactly. So I'm buying more good future options. Exactly, you're way ahead. You can now talk about all sorts of things unrelated to the real topic of conversation across all of the different haha jokes, but yeah, you have earned lots of brownie points. Lisbon, Jamie, I need you to sound a little more enthusiastic when you read my messages. Americans don't know what we want. Like that, you mean? Or, we're all in such a good mood. That one, that also works. After TM, nobody should be expected to count. It's true, Lisa, nobody. That's why all important business meetings happen before 2 a.m. If you notice that, it's a strong, strong trend that, like, if you've got a really important business meeting, you'll probably do it before 2 a.m. Upgrades are associate and soldier. You're so lucky, and lieutenant, isn't there? Or is there not? No, it's not. It's because they're all gang levels, not military levels. So it's soldier, associate, capo, I'm ordering a probiotic deodorant because I love the parasites that make up a significant portion of my weight. Awesome. Now I want brownies. Same here. That's better trade spotting. Awesome. Just can't be bothered with what RC tweets or doesn't tweet. Been on the ride for 3+ years, and this is just another chapter. It's also an election year. Yeah, I mean, that's up to a point. That's true, isn't it? And then until he does what he did today, at which point it's like beyond that. And, you know, you have to take a moral stance against it if you're a right-minded person. It's not righteousness. It's just reasonable. And it's also completely and utterly abhorrent behavior. So, I mean, it's going to have such a negative impact, right? It would be different if he was like a cattle rancher. No offense to cattle ranchers or whatever, but like he'd live miles off into the distance. He'd have had no real interaction with other people, and that's not true of cattle ranchers. I'm just using like a stigma, a stereotype to justify something that's unjustifiable. I mean, there's no excuse for it. All there is the potential to react positively, and then that to cause, you know, other people to do the same, and then for that ripple to expand out and have more of a greater impact in the genesis that caused it, which is very much what I'd hope happens for based on that most recent behavior there. Quickly off of that. So what else have people said? No, I want brownies. Yes. Oh my god, I could do with some brownies. There you go. Sauce food cart making the best gosh damn brownies in the good damn gosh damn universe probably out here. Don't piss off the cattle ranchers. Yeah. Strong lobbyists. Nearly yeah. But like again, that industry has been completely captive by Tyson Foods, isn't it? And they've really pulled a powerful lobby in that. It stands so far as affecting the war of Russia and Ukraine, isn't it? So as long as you're not talking about corn people, you're good at TraceBond. It's Tyson Foods. I'm on their good side though, because I talked about the long opportunity there a while ago. So we're on the good side of Tyson Foods. I know where my corn is buttered. See those cats that like go mental for corn? I haven't met one in real life, though I've met a lot of cats, but I've seen them on YouTube. Watch out for the corn people. Cattle ranchers more empathetic than Rancone. Yeah, no, I was just joking. I was wrong. I should never have said that. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me, cattle ranchers. I want to be like you. I want to be like you guys. Okay. Had not seen the RC tweet tonight. Interesting. Yo, until then, yes. Yo, until then, good to see you, buddy. Children of the Corn was based on fact. What is this? What is this show? Quit time. Good night, Scuba Gang. Tomorrow we ride to 10. Wow, imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine it all of a sudden. I mean, it's very much not technical analysis at this point, or based in any real reasoning at all, that you would see that kind of a move in that kind of period of time. But imagine it just went to 10. Fire Daddy would have like, I don't know if he got any option positions. Fire Daddy would have millions and millions and millions of pounds, millions and millions of whatever currency you care to mention actually, and everyone in the Scuba Gang would be like stinking rich, and I wouldn't be selling anyway because 10's not the top. Like 10 days, not $10. Silly trade spotting. Sorry, got that much hope yet. Not that much. Got. Well, now if we don't go to 10, it's all going to be your fault, sir, and I'm going to be really disappointed. Barry Basuba, 20 gifted memberships. Is that another 20? Holy shit. Even if it wasn't, this is still outstanding. Barry Basuba, doing the Lord's work out here. Barry Basuba being the Lord, in fact. The Lord Basuba. Why is my phone making that noise? Lord Basuba. I'm now. Words are losing all meaning. You're saying, but Basuba doesn't mean anything anyway, Trace Button. But it does. It's a huge. What would it be? It sounds like a whale, doesn't it? But it's not. It's a musical whale. Ballin'. I would kill for a Tim Curry appearance. No, sorry. I would kill for a Tim Curry appearance. Yeah, I don't think you counted the last one. Yeah, I don't think you counted it, Trace Butter. It's possible I didn't. Let's count it again. 20. I can't count either, so sorry for that sauce. 25, 45, 46. Here, wait a minute. I've been here before. 56, 66, 76, 77. And then yourself yesterday also did it yourself yesterday also. You did it yesterday too, a number of different times. And Fortnite Chili's did a number of times. Hey, you guys doing all the heavy lifting. But then you would, right, because your experience with the Basuba and whatnot. Yep. So everybody's very, very lucky, aren't they, to be getting the gifted memberships? They've all left to go and watch the videos. Ah, it makes sense, doesn't it? It makes so much sense. Trace spotting, baritone, saxophone, bassoon, tuba. That sounds like a rap song. That sounds like a start of a really good rap song. Few types of folk can rock a horizontal striped shirt. Good on ya. Until then. Holy shit, I am wearing a horizontal striped shirt. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh my god. Thanks. Can they not? Why not? What's the problem? I'm the luckiest chatter in the chat box. Man knows his Sousa. He doesn't he? Ah, that's what it is. It was the Sousa. The Sousa. There's probably a joke in there too. Some political joke though, right? Or I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm familiar enough with my politicians. I did. I knew it. You look like a notebook page. A notebook page. Is that a compliment? Good thing you're not fat, or that would look awkward. Yes, I'm not fat or skinny. I'm perfectly widthed. In every direction, I'm the perfect width. It's very, very fortunate in that way. It's total coincidence. Vertical lines are a straight line. It's kind of vertical. No lines are a straight line. It's kind of vertical. No lines are a straight line. Yes, in our perception of reality, no lines are a straight line. But there is an effort to create true straight lines. You know, it's difficult when nothing exists in our perception of reality because things are all in a two coordinate space, right? You've got your X and your Y, and then you're trying to place it in that area, but none of that is real because of the curvature of the Earth and whatnot, right? So you go to the North Pole, your latitude's 0, and at which point the angular polarity, it's all messed up again, and you see your two coordinate system fall apart, right? So yeah, there are no real straight lines. Also, there are no real lines, right? There's just like lots and like there's no stop. There's just loads, like there's no actual stop even down to Planck length. Like you just chop in into smaller and smaller pieces because then you've got like different types of particles and then you've got all the different fields. So like you can never really get to the heart of the issue. That's the problem. Like the more we learn, the more we know we don't know anything, and we can't even perceive everything there is to know. So actually, we know less and less, and then that knowledge is expanding further and further away from us at greater and greater speeds, literally. So then we'll never ever we're going to know less and less and less, right? So we're a race of big Dunning-Kruger race, and space is relative until we get to our fourth dimension. Until we get there. Tell me when we get there. Somebody tell me when we get there. My mind is blown. Same here. It's awful. It's awful. I don't know what we'll do about it. You need a nice silver chain for the shirt. Maybe a nice silver Franco chain. Aye. Franco. You mean like Begbie? Wait a minute. You have not got that much knowledge that you would know Begbie from Tradespotting's nickname. Have you, Willfully Lucky? Is that what are we actually at that level of familiarity? Do you know that? The more choices you have, the more you're crippled by choice paralysis. Yeah, when I get lots of choices, I tend to immediately start getting rid of the ones with too many letters in them. I'm like, don't like that. It's far too big a word. Get rid of these ones, and then just go with those ones. Horizontals are great. Yeah, horizontals they are. Mr. Minner knows if you can find them. Wow, they're amazing. I wouldn't know that, sir, but that was a good guess. It was a very good guess. Congratulations. You did know it. You got it right without even knowing you knew it. Your arms are vertical lines. That's why I started the conversation line. My arms are vertical lines. If if I was a stick man, they might be. And hello, live persons. Hello, Death of Banana Fridge. What the hell are you doing up at this time? Vis-a-vis, it's Friday in many places. Oh, that's why, yeah. It's the Friday in many places. Okay, we need something new to riff off now. Oh, no, I mean, okay, we need something new to riff off now. It does feel like a splushing, eh? Hey! We got we got a preview. This is a Friday preview. I hear the street cleaning machine outside. That's a huge scam because it comes past now. It comes past it. No, wait a minute. It came past earlier at 11 p.m. because the bar's shut. Even don't they shut at like 1? But like that's the idea. They shut it earlier, and so the street cleaning machine drives past and cleans the street, and then it doesn't do a particularly good job because those machines are absolutely shit. Like they're vacuum cleaners with a brush on them. So really, what happens is they just brush all the shit all over the place, and then drive past blowing it all over the place. And then 3 hours later, they come past again and do the same thing. And then in the morning, we'll do it another time. And they never actually do anything. And it's really embarrassing, really expensive, bad for the environment, huge scam somewhere at the council. They've got this scam going on. And it's been going on for years. It's a huge scam in Edinburgh. It's costing fucking so much money and it's a total joke. Whereas I went and lived in Granada for a while. Rocky will tell you the truth of this. And you can be walking home from a nightclub at like 5 or 6 in the morning, right? And you'll walk past and there's loads and loads of dudes and ladies out cleaning the streets with proper hoses, really strong ones, brushes, making it spotless. They're picking up all the rubbish. They're making it absolutely perfect. And then you'll walk past and there'll be like a patisserie so you can like get freshly cooked buns and croissants and baps and like everything you could possibly want that's made in a bakery. It smells amazing. They're all out working, doing amazing stuff, and then you can eat all that, and then you can go home, and then you can sleep all day by a swimming pool, and it's brilliant, right? And like yeah, sure. The start of that story started off about a street cleaning machine in Edinburgh, whatever. But isn't Spain amazing? Isn't Spain amazing? That's amazing. It's like a Disney World. It's even better. Late night carbs, God bless. Yeah, that's what it is. It's the late night carb diet. Donuts. Yeah, donuts. They also work. Diana Stevens writing it like in proper English and everything. In proper English. Donuts, them. Looks like I'm going to the Caribbean. Wow, that sounds good. Oh my god, freshly cooked bread is my kryptonite. Kryptonite? Do you mean my... I mean, yeah, if Superman loved kryptonite, yeah, if it smelt great and he loved it, that makes sense, right? Otherwise, it's like, wait, how can it be a kryptonite? Sounds great. Favorited them, and they show up at the top of the tickers. What is this? It sounds good. Specifically Granada. Yeah, it's the best place. Oh, you're talking about Grenada. I was talking about Granada in Andalusia in the south of Spain, which is a beautiful place. A huge mix of cultures, you know, because like the Christianity moved in, chased out the Muslims. Muslim moved back in, chased out the Christian. Blah 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 blah. Happened loads of different times, but actually, like most of the Alpujarras, the center of town, the Alhambra, and so on. Most of that was at first made by Muslims. Amazing cultural impact on that city. It's beautiful. And then the Christians came and made it like Christiany, which is also good and whatnot. And then together the two cultures are fused, and it's an amazing part of the world. It's so open, it's so positive. It's an amazing student city. It's not too bad with tourists, but it's very busy there, especially right in the center, in the old town. And like 800 years worth of Muslim influence, 500 years of Christianity pushed in there. It's an amazing little place. And then it's like 30 minutes to Motril or slightly further to Cadiz to get down to the beach. Lovely beaches. It's old town. In the meantime, you can go via like Nerja, see the caves there, like one of the second most visited tourist attraction in the world. These huge underground caves with like opera halls and stuff in them. Amazing. You go up to Alpujarras, these cave houses all built into the mountains, and then later on like really expensive, awesome houses with huge swimming pools. Amazing little villages all across there. And then you've got the Sierra and the Nevada mountains, so you can go like snowboarding in the morning and then go down to sunbathing in the evening. It's fucking amazing. I love it. It's such a great place. Spain is my lowest lane. Lovely, lovely. Right, traveling from trading, and while trading is on my bucket list. Trading and traveling and traddling. Well, Rocky's a little bit better. Rocky now would get a bit of that in the go, but until then, work. 99.99 donation from JS. What a legend. Holy shit, 99.99 through the super chat. Yo, whoa. Holy shit, JS. Holy shit. Good to see you. Where have you been, my friend? How you just arriving? Maybe he's just getting up. What time is it there? Mr. JS, that's very much appreciated. Thank you very much, JS, a legend. You! Whoa! Can I click on this? I've seen on other YouTube chats you can like click like, you can do that. Can I reply to that message? How do I reply to the message? I've seen this happen in other places. I can click on it, but I can't reply to it. I've seen it happen in other. 34 months as an associate as well. 34 months as an associate. And bloomin' 99.99. Bam! Barry Basuba and JS, what a bloody gift you two are. You two are bloody brilliant. Everybody say hello to JS. He is a lovely pineapple for a head. Look at that. I can't see it on this chat box because for some reason YouTube doesn't want me to have pineapple heads on the screen. But look how beautiful that is. JS, thanks so much. Legend. Traceborn, have you ever booked a random flight? Yes, I have booked random flights. Like a couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, what was it? I can't remember now, right? But a number of years ago, I really meant to book a flight and did book a flight to, where was it? No, I was at a fashion show in Milan. And then afterwards I was like, oh, I'll just get back to Edinburgh. And then I went on the internet to look at flights to Edinburgh and they were like $270. And I was like, I'm not fucking paying that. I'll just go a different day. And then I was like, I wonder what else is on at the minute. And then I flew out to Montenegro and went to like somewhere there that was absolutely beautiful. And then I was like, oh, I'll just go home now after a while there because I got bored of the 20p fags and the 10p €2. It wasn't euros, was it though? Maybe it was €2 free course meals and stuff. You know, eventually you get tired of it and you want to go and waste money in the civilized world again. So then I was like, I'll just fly home from here. And then I was like, nah, what? It's still $200 to fly to Edinburgh. I'll just ditch that and go somewhere else. So then I picked like the next, some cheapest flight that was there. And it was to, where did I go next? Where does it go from there? I can't remember. Anyway, I went all over the shop. Ended up booking loads and loads of random flights. And then I was like in Copenhagen like a month and a half or 2 months later. And I was like, I really need to get home. This is crazy. I really got to get back to the house. And then, and I didn't even get back from then, actually. I think I ended up in Milan again and then I went home. 99.99. Thanks so much, Jess. That's really appreciated. So I suppose it wasn't like it was a random flight. It was mostly instead I was like, well, that's too expensive. You know, like I could definitely get closer to Edinburgh with a different flight. It doesn't cost that much. And like enjoy that place for a bit. And then from there, surely I'll get a cheaper flight to Edinburgh. Which kept happening until such times as like the cheapest flight was to Copenhagen, which took me past Edinburgh and on to Copenhagen. And at that point I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then it was dead funny too because I'd booked this place and I couldn't really remember. I'd read the address directions once, but they were like in Danish. So I didn't really remember much apart from the fact that you get like the number 5 bus and you stay on it for approximately 8 minutes or something. Like I could gather that much from it. And as I was reading the address details of the place I'd booked, the lift in the airport like juddered and my phone like fell that way and went down between the lift and the doors, and that was it. There was my phone gone, and that's really, really annoying. That's really annoying. That darn. And So then I was like, but I knew I got on that number 5 bus and I'd get on it for 7 minutes or something. And then I get off it. And the guy's name, I can't remember the game's name, but he was dead funny. I remembered it. So then I got off the bus and I just started shouting his name really loudly. And then walking around for 5 minutes or something, or 10 minutes, or maybe it was half an hour, I don't know. But I was walking around shouting his name. And this guy came up to me and was like, hello, are you Jamie? And I was like, yeah. And he told me his name. And I was like, oh, I'm so good to see you. And we got on like a horse on fire. Yeah, it was like a horse on fire. It was like, nah, nah, horse on fire and stuff. Yeah, we got on like a horse on fire. Dropped your phone in lavatories, boy. Yeah, pretty much, man. It was like it's the equivalent. You know, as soon as it went down like the gap must have been like micromillimeters either side of the width of the phone for it to fit in, but it went in so perfectly. It went in so perfectly that it didn't make any hitting the edges noise, but it made that noise of like when an air gap is like filled and then opened again, like that. And it was such a perfect that I was like, knew immediately, that's it gone. Like it's just gone, and there was no clunk or anything. Yeah, that was the end of the phone. That's my worst fear. Whoosh. But yeah, it's not bad though if you can get on a bus and have a general direction of where you're going, and it's Copenhagen and everyone's dead friendly. And Copenhagen is like Amsterdam, but slightly less flat, cleaner, and more friendly. Like the people are more friendly. Like they're interested more than no, I like big fan of Amsterdam as well. But they're slightly more friendly. I'm saying that they're similar because they both absolutely stink of weed everywhere you go, and most people ride bikes everywhere, and there's really good facilities for it. My worst fear: getting along like a horse on fire. You can't have it, no doubt. Yeah, it's a good one. I didn't even mean to come up with it. $800 phone nowadays. Keep them as long as possible. Yeah, I suppose everything that I saved on flights, I then spent on other flights, so I didn't make a saving there, and then I also lost it all on that phone. See, actually, when I was leaving Montenegro, right, from this airport, it was like a shed airport. And they had the whole deal with the airport building, right, except it was like the size of this living room. And inside it, all there was a passport check. And they had like 3 queues. And one of them was manned, and it was like for everybody. And then they had the middle one, which was for like EU arrivals, which was not manned, so everyone had to just use the for everybody one. And then they had the Russian one, which was like had a red carpet and like velvet ropes between the thingies for people arriving. Ken, how crazy is that? And I walked up to it and was like, I'm going to just, get told to go to the other one, obviously. Great. There's a good, sat in the box. And like, I know that it was for Russia and it was pretty obvious because of flags and whatnot. So I just went up to that one and then walked up to the dude. And he was like, where's your passport from? Like, as in, like, it's not Russia, is it, mate? Like, you're in the wrong queue. And I said, Ireland. And he was like, oh, Ireland, great. And then didn't even bother looking at it. It was like, yeah, great, come on in. And then when I was leaving, it was at the same airport. And I was in a bit of a rush because I was going to miss the plane. And the taxi driver let me out. And I think he actually wanted paid in cigarettes, that taxi driver. Anyway, right, it was brilliant. It was a brilliant holiday. And then I was in so much of a rush. I just ran around the side of the airport, like the building, like the side of this. I was like, yeah, cool, and all the rest of it. But I'll just like not do that, and went around the side and just got on the plane, and got on the plane. I don't even know if I think we were like halfway over Italy or something. Definitely going like over the Adriatic, and we were flying around, and somebody I think maybe came and checked my ticket on the plane. I think that happened, but it may not even have happened. It was a brilliant holiday. I can never leave the US because I don't have a passport. Why can't you just get a passport, yo? Is it just too much of an administrative difficulty because you can't be waiting at those queues at the DMV and whatnot? It might be like that. I have heard of these difficulties. She can. She's just a big yap. Yes, they're $100, Sarah. Last 10 years. That's only $10 a year. It's easy. Yeah, BMJ Shadow says it's easy. What do you like, Sarah? It's just so much paperwork. Is it really, though? Are you sure you're not just using that as an excuse, Sarah? Rarera. Holy shit, what a stream it's been for a Thursday. I didn't expect any of this to happen. You know, I was actually really, really not expecting this to happen. It was at, what time did we start? 11:45, and it's now 10 to 3 in the morning. 10 to 3 in the morning? You could probably use your profile pic as a passport photo. Yeah, as long as you're not smiling and that whatnot. They say that there, eh? They say that and then they reject it. Like, I kept on doing it. Like, they have this thing here where you submit your passport picture to the website and it tells you, like, nah, you're smiling too much, or you've got, like, a mustache in front of your face or something. I think you're allowed a mustache, but, you know, you're not allowed to hold that toy car up in the photo or something, Trace point. So I'd be like, yeah, but I want a smiley photograph. So then I'd submit a smiley one, and then I'd do like a sneaky smiley one where I'm only smiling a wee bit, but like I would know if I looked at it that I am smiling. And then that didn't work, and I just kept submitting it over and over and over. And like the 16th go, I got one up with a proper, actual, full-on smile, and it said, yeah, no problem. So I just went with that. It was great. Got a smiley passport now. Never smile in a photo for a government body. Never! Yeah, because then you must be lying, right? You can't be a real person and smiling. It's the government. They are picky about photos. Just go to CVS. Yay! CVS. There's another reason that's brilliant. Brilliant pharmacy. Whatever you do, don't go to Boots Walgreen Alliance. That's a shit company. They're absolutely shit. You should stay away from them. Never give them any money. They're shit. Probably. I don't know. Well, I do know. They're shit. They're the worst company going. They're the worst possible company in that sector, and they're probably going to cost anyone who trades them their money. They're so bad. No government body likes you being happy. Yeah, they're coming down on you like a tin of bricks. A tin of them. A tin of bricks. What's happened to my brain? No government body likes you being happy, and you usually, when they're asking to see your photo, you won't be smiling anyways. Yeah, but if it's a smiley passport photo and they ask to see it and you hand it over and you're like, ha, he's going to be surprised or she's going to be surprised, then you are. You've got a huge, massive grin on your face then as well. And you're like, haha, it's me, look. Haha. And they're like, fucker got on with a smiley photo. She should look sad and upset like everyone else. And you're like, haha, let me in. The only reason that people would be interested in checking my passport is like when I'm coming back here, though, eh? At which point I feel aggrieved that I even have to show them this fucking thing. It's like, look, it's my country. You know what I mean? I have to show you my passport to get into my own country. I'm annoyed at you. I don't like this anymore. And then I don't feel like smiling. It's funny that. Though they've got machines. And they're sort of like, you know, they've got the machines now. Look, like nobody's actually doing anything properly out here. Everything apart from like a few people on YouTube and a couple of traders in this chat box, their jobs are all fake. Like probably like BMJ who's working down on mines and that, you know, that's a real job. But and Sauce Food Cart who's like making the cheese sandwiches, like actually is making good ones. Like these people do real jobs. But you see these passport scanning machines where these like everyone's queuing up, scanning the passport, the gates open, and like there's no human being there, but there's loads of cameras. And the idea is that there's some human being sat in a box somewhere looking at all of this happen. That is not real. That is not real. Like, that dude is not looking at anything. Like, he's not looking at anything. Because I could come back to the Edinburgh airport and put it on there. And I'm putting it on there. Like, is it actually on? I don't know if it's on there. And, like, it's obviously said beep or done whatever. And I haven't even looked up at the camera to check my face is the same as it. And then the gates opened. That happens loads. Like, so there's no way he looked at me. If it is even a he, whatever. There's no way they looked at me. And then... And it's happened so many times now that it's not real. There's no one in those boxes. It's just this idea of like a glass prison. Like, well, they think there's someone going to be looking, so they're not going to cheat, and the passport might scan as real, so then they just let you in. It's like, nah, there's no one there. This is a whole huge scam. There's definitely no one there. So I reckon, you know, as long as you've got a passport, you're probably fine. Who cares if it's actually you or not? Probably doesn't even make any difference. And here's me out thinking, he's going to see my smiley face, yet he doesn't exist. There is no he. It's a computer. And it's just like, yeah, we'll let one in every 500 will check or something like that. And then that happens, maybe, on a good day. Jamie, what would you say was the most valued to you learning experience of the last 5 years of your life? Well, I mean, it's hard to see past like, you you know, after you get to a certain age, you ask the last 5 years. So, like, in those 5 years, like, the compassion I have for people that I try to help and learning to see past my own qualms and sensibilities to help people, like, learning to not be prude, not to not be prudent, like, it's like an ego thing, probably. Learning to not be egotistical, like, helping people. You know, like, for example, if you have to wash somebody who can't wash themselves, if you have to um, help people who can't manage to get to certain types of shops for things they'll need, but you have to go, and like, it would be incongruous to see you there, or it would be unusual for you to do those things, and that um, doing those sort of things, you know, that would be it, right? It would be like learning to see past my own silly, stupid concerns and like that side of things, and then um, yeah, just like that sort of stuff, probably. Those sort of things. I can see there's a big distinction there between the sort of personality that I am and the likelihood of me doing many of the things that I actually do in my day-to-day life. Like, the person that you see on the internet, you might not think does like what I actually do with most of my time, most of my days. So getting better at doing those things are what's most helped me. Gotta start getting ready for work. Y'all have a good night. Yo, Rod Bigelow, great to see you, buddy. I'll try to listen while I'm getting ready. Go Lisbon. Night, all you daylighters. Good night. Good night, Rod Bigelow. Our resident gigolo. You ever gone through ego death? Nah, I just made my life bigger so it fit my ego better. Innit? Yeah, I mean, I did like modeling, like in big places, big people and whatnot, and got told fucking offensive ass shit sometimes, and then other times the opposite. So like, I've been through all of those shit, and then I've been in serious relationships that ended in extremely traumatic fashion and stuff, with properly brutal commentary with them and that not. So I've had terrible versions of that type of certain aspects of my ego have been speared, quite convincingly murdered. Going to transition to my laptop. Good idea, Mr. Barabasuba. I have a write off because class Tomshi. That sounds like we're on the eggs. Oops, they broke. Guess we're having leftover pad thai then. The most hated things come from our loved ones. No, that's not true. That's a nice way. That's a nice. You're right, but what you have expressed it might be taken the wrong way by others. But you're right. Like, it's what you mean is this: those people we most care about and trust, that we allow closest to us, and so they are able to most hurt us. For sure, that's true. But that's possible. Like, you know, that's part of the deal, isn't it? I mean, apparently that's actually one of the things you're supposed to like about it. I don't. Anyway, yeah, the stories and stuff. Very nice. Next point there, Minner. Barry Basuba, good that Jamie grew his life to fit his ego. Yeah, exactly. I just grew it to be bigger and that and whatnot. I also think that this is good advice for lots of people, right? Because there's so many different things you can do that will help your life match your ego, as opposed to shrinking your ego so that you don't have too many expectations over your own life, which somehow is like seen to be the answer today. Right, and I can see how that would keep you on a level playing field, and people who like don't appreciate emotional extremities might benefit from that experience. And I'm definitely not here to knock psychoanalysts. Like, they've got their job, that's great, whatnot. It just doesn't work for me. What I think is that you should, what I like to do is to try and make my life bigger and better and fill in those areas where I'm missing my own expectations. Trading's really good for that. I started watching you in May of 2021, and I'm in my 30s, so I guess I'm curious of what's kept the engine running for so long. There is something about you that inspires and has for years. Thank you very much. Until then. Ta-da! That's a really nice message. Appreciate that, mate. In terms of trading, what's the biggest lesson I've learned in the last 5 years? Man, there's just so many fucking hundreds of lessons all the time. I'm happy I've caught this stream today tonight. I'm happy to see you, buddy. I don't know what the biggest lesson would be in the last 5 years of trading. That's a big question. maybe that LivePerson's like the most amazing company going. I think it's that I learned that LivePerson was an amazing company going. I learned loads of different things, right? That there isn't a trade in the world that you can't just walk away from. There is no trade in the world that you can't just walk away from, no matter what your position is like compared to your entry, no matter what your original intentions were, no matter the reason for it. And I'm not speaking about Ryan Cohen here. I'm literally not at all. But there is that thing for people to think about. But that's not what I'm talking about at all. It's totally a coincidence. I'm talking about your own position. You can walk away from any position at any time, and it doesn't matter if you're in profit, if you're in a loss, if not, you can walk away from any position, no matter what it might be that's making you feel like otherwise. And if you can remember that in a moment when otherwise you might be panicking or not sure what to do, knowing that you've always got that option, and it'll always, like, if you've also got risk management, then you're fine. I broke up with GameStop ages ago. How are you feeling since? Are you feeling any better? Are you feeling it? What did you learn? Are you getting on now? You gotta see her, Sarah Herrera. I always have wanted to play with the other kids. Yeah, where are the other kids? Barry was I'm back on the laptop. Good to see you, buddy. Reminds me of a short by Mr. Sandler. If you're sad at home, you're going to be sad in Italy. Well, actually, you know, um, actually, if you're sad at home, and then you decide instead to go to Italy, like to maybe somewhere on the Adriatic or on the Mediterranean, a huge villa with like bruschetta, freshly made bruschetta with nice Italian tomatoes delivered, and that every day, and you've got your own swimming pool, and like you've got like 3 or 4 little bedrooms beside the swimming pool, so that if you get tired, you can just go and sleep in any one of them, and they're all freshly made by the cleaner in the morning, and that. It's actually really good. And then you in advance, you say to the people that own the place, like, fill the fridge up with everything that you like, and they do. And then you arrive, and you're sad, and then you arrive. You're not that sad anymore. Like, I was never that. You could do stuff like that and not be sad in Italy. It is good. Like, you can definitely do stuff that makes it less sad for sure. But then being sad at home and being sad in Italy, I know what you mean, right? You might actually be then like urgently sad because you can't fix the problems. The running away from problems doesn't work. But running to happiness, that works. Doctor Who references for anyone. Doctor Who! Yeah, sign me up for that. Hopefully a fully random flight ends up there. Is it like how random type of random? That's true. I've never seen anyone cry on a jet ski. That's another good quote. Jet skis, though, I'm not a huge fan of jet skis that much. Like, not a huge fan. I find them a little bit like meh. They're fun for a while until you hit someone with it, and then you're like, oh shit, where did they go? I can't see them anymore. And you're like, you kind of feel bad for a moment. You don't cry, obviously, because nothing cool about crying on a jet ski, no matter what it is you did. Owen Wilson likes jet skis. Right? Does he like trade spotting? I mean, that'd be more relevant. You should like trade spotting. Water skiing is more fun. It is really good fun once you learn how to get up. It's not fun until you learn how to get up and you're smacking your face off the lake over and over and over. But after you learn how to stand up, it is really good fun. Yeah, you gotta get your upper body strength up enough and your core strength up enough, so then your leg strength up and everything up and your face resilience up enough. And then once you're good at water skiing, it's really good. Jet skis are fun for about 30 hours in total. Yeah, total. That's why Kenny was pretty precious over his jet ski, though. Getting the wee trailer for it, driving it back and to from the beach and all whatnot. It's definitely the sort of thing you're better hiring as opposed to buying. Unless you've got a lake, in which case, you don't make sure to spread those 30 hours out a bit. Which came first? With what? Jet skis are fun for 30 hours. What is it? Yeah, my first flight is to Pennsylvania, and when I get there, I'm taking a random flight to the EU. A random flight to the EU from Pennsylvania. Random EU. Oh my god, you're gonna have a lot of fun. EU, it's the right time of year. It's warm in most of it. You want to get to a random place. That's pretty fun. Tell us where you're going when you find out. Which came first? Moons? Exactly moons. Which did come first? We need to know. We need to know what came first. Does the computer tell me what came first? It doesn't tell me. It's now 3 o'clock in the morning. Has anyone tweeted anything crazy again? They've not. I keep forgetting to take my Benadryl. I'm supposed to be getting ready for bed so that I don't lose my route tomorrow. Yeah, you should be doing that. Where you guys live that you are going to bed already? I've never hit someone... Wait a second. Look up, we can take you to the Mediterranean. We can make you feel comfortable in a bathing suit. How come I'm not seeing that on the screen, but I'm seeing it here in the chat box? Is there a delay or something? Ate my gummy, I'm good. You just got gummies! PA in February is about as cold as it gets. PA? What's PA? Is that Philadelphia? I'm talking about into EU. Yes, got no work tomorrow. I'm on a 4-day work week for now. Congratulations, Mr. Minner. I could tweet something crazy right now, like I'm going to rub lips in on my nipples. No one would understand. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. Like that song. With the Pennsylvaniacs. Is that what you guys are called out there? Pennsylvaniacs. It should be, because it's funnier than the other thing that you are called, which is Big Silly Billies. Eating the silly steak sandwiches there with cheese on them. Why do you do that on a sandwich? Is that a song? Yes. It's the Philadelphia National Anthem. Right, so I have finished that kind of Guinness, which somehow managed to string it out from... This was like it took like 2 hours. Imagine I could do that in bars. I'd be even richer if I could stay in a bar for 2 hours and only drink 1 pint. Imagine how rich you'd be. You'd be really rich. Barry Busuba, yeah, there are many things wrong. Yeah. And we're going to fix them. Is that an inverted head and shoulders on the S&P? Is that an inverted head and shoulders on the S&P? Is it? How did I even end up over here on the S&P like this? Is that what it is? Is that inverted head and shoulders on the RSI? Is that crossing the MACD? Is that above the 200 period moving average? Does that mean that it's probably not coming lower than 53333 and likely it goes back up and then tests in at around 5666 before it doesn't even need to go down? It could just go all the way up there. Does that mean that's what's happening? Does it? Does it really? I mean, probably something like that. What's Lipson doing? Post market 1.14 is not telling me any post market pricing there. Wouldn't do anything to see much of. Anywho, yeah. Well, it's all just squashed. Unsquishing. It's just closing and opening, closing and opening all around that little cluster of 1.14. So 14 cents above $1. Tomorrow will be super interesting on price action. I need to get myself to bed. And what else is happening? We looked at everything with regards to the TA already. And then we had a positive stream. I think that was a really good stream. It was really good fun. Thanks very much for joining me during it, everybody. Thanks so much for GS. I have this credits thing, but it doesn't work. How do I make it play now? I mean, I don't know how to do anything. Is that it? Is it working? Blah, blah, blah. Do this, do that. Why is it not doing anything? Why is my chat box not fitting on there? I've obviously set things up wrong somehow. Visual settings, source, control audio. What? Audio on the credits? Manage credits. Make them happen already. Where's the make the credits button happen? Okay, I'll just have to do it myself. The credit. All the credit for today's show goes to top of the show, most recent top of the show, is that the right word? No, that's at the start, isn't it? That means at the start. So I have to go back to the start. We have to go back to the start of the entire show now, guys. 1 day ago. That means earlier on today, though, doesn't it? Well, let's start off with the message I think was yesterday from Justin Pickerel, who's very generous recently a number of times, and stretches to be so. And I appreciate that, Justin. You never need to. Justin Pickerel, Mr. Pickerel, $5. The example of Lipson helping a credit union save money is the kind of community building I love to hear. Happy to be vested in that type of accomplishment. Yes, really positive moves from LivePerson, and it never fails to offer us a positive opportunity when something else is going on that's negative in the investment environment that we're also very associated with. So LivePerson, it's like the universe is offering us this hugely positive window of opportunity to make the most of our own experience as traders. And it keeps doing that. And have you noticed how much the universe keeps doing stuff that makes LivePerson a particularly compelling opportunity, or at least something that should be considered? And even if you are, the most dead set on agreeing with Ryan Cohen and you're 100% behind him no matter what comes out of his mouth, I think LivePerson then is even more important for you to consider, as it gives you this extremely balancing impact on your portfolio. And should be that something terrible happens with the whole world realizing that the stuff that's happening there that's negative doesn't really work for the market at large, and bad news comes there, it may well be that you're able to balance all that out with your considerations in LivePerson. I think that's even more compelling for people. So like, definitely would never say that it's like it's the alternative, right? It's not an alternative. Like, it's silly. That would be like comparing some rundown shack hole in the road with a grumpy old man living in it telling everyone to fuck off to a 5-star hotel. Like the LivePerson is, right? There's no real, that's not, it's not like, right? It's like apples and oranges, right? It would be a silly comparison to make. It's not an alternative. It's a complementary option. So that's the true story. Barry Basuba, thank you so very much. Justin Pickerel yesterday. Barry Basuba here. Exceptional support for the channel over the last while, Barry Basuba. I appreciate that so very much, mate. Always make sure that if you ever need me to be able to do anything to pay you back, you just ask and I'll be there. No problem. Minner, 10 blimmin' memberships from yourself as well. Thank you so much. Justin Pickerel again. Today. Mental fortitude. Mental fortitude. Stay in power. Mental fortitude. Stay in power. We got it here. What a community. I am a Philly red or bed. I'm not sure. It's AED. I am affiliated. I am affiliated. Oh, right. So it's not affiliated. It's not from Philomaniac. It's from affiliated. I am affiliated. Affiliate. I am affiliated. Affiliated as in silly head too. I'm not sure, but there's a lot of things that could be. Thank you so much. I'm affiliated who's now asleep. Basuba, Barry Basuba again. And then, boom, Peyton, bloomin' risen sizzle, Peyton risen sizzle with a $50 donation. Bang! Barry Basuba again, a number of times with loads of memberships. Supporting the streams, incredible. JS with $99. And then, boom, bacon pancakes. 5! Holy shit. I think we might have just gone through the limit there. We've gone through the limit. I'm going to count them up again and subject you to my awful counting. Bacon pancakes. Chris Gallen, Dips Patel, Meg Stocks. Like Meg, like that underwater thing, the big shark thing, the killer shark, the big massive killer shark. Oh my god, THJ and Ross Wood, congratulations. Great to see you all as new members of the channel. Really appreciate it. Legends. Very much. From Mr. Bacon Pancakes. Thanks. Are these American pancakes? Are these like the thin, nicer, less weighty, fluffy pancakes? Like super thin and it's just as the mixture spreads out over the pan, you're able to flick it, get it done. Like that type of pancake? Or are we talking like the big fluffy American pancakes that are like hefty? What type are we talking here? Bacon pancakes. That was 5. JS, $99. Thank you so much, mate. Appreciate that. Really, 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 really amazing support from you over the years and your associate. And it was 34 months, if I remember correctly. Bloomin' heck. So 5, 25. I'm counting, guys. 30 plus 30 is 50. 51. 61. 71 from Benner. 81. 82. Oh my god, we made it to 82. I can't keep counting because I feel like I'm taking advantage. Bacon pancakes. What kind of pancakes are we talking? I need to get back up to this screen to see what type would. With lots of butter and crispy edges. Nom nom. Lots of butter and crispy edges. That must be the super thin ones that are not the big American style pancakes then. It must be. I have to go here to check on my phone to make 100% sure though. I'll be here giving out memberships and tons of tips for you. Jamie, love it. Awesome. Bloody brilliant. Holy bloody brilliant. Nope, that will be when Lipson goes. That'll be when that happens. Or you can Google my name, you will judges and lawyers. You will judges and lawyers. You will judges and lawyers. Judges and lawyers, whatever you do, don't Google my name. Don't Google my name, whatever you do. Google Justin Angley's name, not mine. Boom. Couple months, Lipson blowing the top, let's go. Couple of months. I hear the campfires of our ancestors crackling. Crackle. I don't see the answer to the pancake question. This is what I'm looking for. In my house, we love Belgian waffles and crepes. Crepes are amazing, right? Crepes are amazing. Belgian waffles, yeah, they're also pretty damn good. But that's not the point. What about these pancakes? The best pancakes. Ah, right. Well, they're super thin pancakes then. And the crispy edges, yeah. And then you put a little bit of icing sugar on them with some lemon juice. Whoa, they're so good. I'm going to make some of them tomorrow morning. Get me some of them fresh blueberry pancakes, baby. I don't agree that you should be putting fruit on pancakes. I don't agree with that. I am strongly against that, in fact. You know, just so you know. And the next time you're eating one of these fruity pancakes, right, know that I would be shaking a disapproving finger at you. I'd be shaking it, wagging. Like, no, it should have been a thin pancake, not one of those big, fat, hefty ones. And no, you shouldn't be putting no jam or certainly no actual fruit on the thing. No, like you shouldn't do that. What you should be doing is put some lemon, squeeze a little bit of lemon on it, and then chuck icing sugar on the thing, right? And then eat 20 of them. That's what you should be doing. And that's what you should be doing for your kids too. They don't need to be force-fed gosh damn fruit and jam. They need lemon and icing sugar. That's how they grow up strong, good traders and stuff. Right, we've had an amazing stream. I'm more excited about something. So what are we excited? Lipson calls for August 15th. Here, that's like 15 days away or something. 16 days away. Wait, can I add? No. Fried chicken and waffles is divine. Fried chicken and waffles. Fried chicken, brilliant. Waffles, brilliant. Why would you put them two together though? That doesn't seem right. When you could just put, which for waffles, right, what you can do is you can heat them up. And if they're not hot already, which if you made them, they will be. And then you could put a little bit of lemon on them and then chuck icing sugar on them. And then you could eat that. That's so much better. And then what you can do is you can do that as dessert after you've eaten your fried chicken, which you would instead put peri sauce on. And then you can have fried chicken with peri sauce. And it's amazing. It's amazing. I had it today. I had it yesterday. I have it. I'm going to probably again have it tomorrow. It's amazing. It's just so amazing. You know, you're walking around the shop and you're looking at stuff and you're like, that's great. And really all I actually want is either chicken wings or chicken thighs. That's essentially what I'm saying. And then if I get to the chicken thighs decision, then I'll be like, do I want them with the bones or without the bones? And that's really all you're really asking yourself when you walk around the supermarket. Sometimes you remember a conversation you had about pancakes the night before, in which case you get the shit to make the pancakes. And that's about it, right? And then you never, ever think to yourself, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to mix these waffles with this fried chicken on one plate. That's never something that anyone ever thinks. So you should stop doing that. And instead you should just get peri sauce and put it on your chicken. And then get your waffles and then put lemon and icing sugar on them. So we've got that covered comprehensively now. You'll never forget it. Hey, be nice to each other. Be nice to each other. You should try it, GME. Take waffles, attach fried chicken, pour on maple syrup. Maple syrup on my fried chicken. Where's the peri peri sauce gonna go? Where's the peri peri sauce gonna go? I want everyone in the chat box to make friends with each other immediately. Where are you gonna put your peri peri sauce if you've got honey on your chicken? You guys, are you just planning on just drinking the peri peri sauce? Is that how this works? It might be. Otherwise, how's it going to work? I do like bacon and pancakes. You like bacon and pancakes? Bacon and pancakes. Yeah. I mean, if you've got a savory pancake, okay, but then you can't put icing sugar on it, right? You can't put icing sugar on it. So bacon and pancakes. What he's speaking to there is like, that he has bacon and he has pancakes, but it's not definitively confirmed that he has the bacon on the pancakes. It just might be in the same vicinity, the same general area. He's not completely confirmed it, so we can't say that for a fact. Things try to say sherry sauce, sherry cheese. No, sherry sauce, that's a different message. A pretzel and cheese. I'm making a pretzel and cheese. You're making a pretzel and cheese? If I could freaking pretzels with cheese. I only ever had pretzels with salt on them. That's all I ever had on my pretzels, salt. Tracebottom, you like to talk about standing up for everyone. They just stand up for what savory waffles and savory chicken. It just benefits from syrup. Man, I don't know, yo. I'm going to have to diverge from my long-standing philosophy of standing up for everybody and say, look, when it comes down to it, I'm here to stand up for the peri peri sauce. That's what I'm standing up for. Which, when you look up on the internet, will tell you it's from Portugal, despite the fact that even the words peri peri are South African, and that South Africa was exploited by those goddamn Portuguese, and that it should never have been allowed to happen, and we've never actually managed to make up for it, because still people think that peri peri sauce is Portuguese, when it isn't. It's goddamn South African, and I'm standing up for that. And once we've solved that problem, right, then we can move on, right? Afterwards, then we can move on and stand up for savory food with honey on it, which should not happen anyway. I'm still in two minds about this. I'm definitely not conclusively committing myself to that cause yet. And I think we should talk more about peri peri sauce first. Peri peri scrambled means Lipson. Yummy! Oh my god, does it? Then it's even more of a reason. Now, I said the universe was talking to us, but now we've got it, like, for sure. Those damn Portuguese. Isn't that right? No, I mean, eh? They even buy Lipson. Like, there's no redemption for them. I love savory food with honey on it. That is just a very general, vague statement. That's just not true in all scenarios. I could give you plenty of examples where you wouldn't feel that way. Like with honey on it. Was that what you said? Or yeah, with honey on it. Right. So what about like what sausages? You wouldn't put honey on a sausage, right? That'd be crazy, wouldn't it? You wouldn't put honey on a sausage. You're gonna eat that? That's crazy. Can't do that. You can't eat honey on a sausage. That'd be disgusting. What about with haggis and black pudding? Haggis, black pudding, right? So that layer is haggis. This layer is the black pudding. This layer is a little what would Americans call it? A puck, a little puck of turnip, right? And then it was on a matcha bun, right? So like that, you know, that stuff that you put in tea, and then or is tea, pardon, and then that you put honey on that. That'd be disgusting. That'd be absolutely disgusting. It'd be absolutely disgusting. You'd be ruining like 5 different types of food all at once with the honey. Whereas just beforehand, that would have been a perfect combination, an amazing matcha, turnip, haggis, and whatever else I decided to put in it bun there that I just invented, and it would be awful with honey in it. And it's sweet. I would put honey on sausages. There's something wrong with you. Tracebottom, they literally make applewood bacon and sausage. Yeah, but it's bacon in it, right? It's got bacon and it's applewood bacon and sausage. The honey is not in that sentence. Maybe it meant to be. Maybe it is if it was fully expressed, but it's not in the one you wrote. And I personally don't like it, but it exists. Ah, well, you see, there you go, there, right? It's the exception that proves the rule. It exists to prove that we're both on the same side, and it's not good, and it's awful, and it's disgusting. I would put honey on pizza. I think you mean on pizza. I think you mean on pizza there. Yeah, on pizza, exactly. Yeah, on pizza. Honey garlic sausages. That's disgusting. What, you like moons? Don't be saying stuff like that. You shouldn't be mixing honey and garlic. I've never had haggis, but I would be willing to bet it goes well with honey. Oh my god, get out of town. You've never had haggis. What planet do you live on? Everyone's eating haggis nowadays. Good thing I'm allergic. This is out of control. Isn't it? I put hot sauce on pizza. Damn right, I put hot sauce on pizza. You stick Tabasco sauce like on your pizza, and then you take a bite, and then you have to put more on because you're going to take another bite. And of course, you can't dip the thing in Tabasco sauce because it comes out in a stupid bottle that only lets little bits out at a time. Okay, I'm lying. I would not put honey on pizza. I'm lying. I'm a liar who lies. Oh my god, I don't know how you're going to live that one down. What is haggis? It's like cow liver and kidney and stuff in sheep intestines mixed with some oats and then with blood poured on top and then fried, often fried then. And it sounds like I'm joking because of the type of conversation we've been having recently, but I'm not. That's what it is. I've never heard of this. You've never heard of haggis? What? It's amazing. What? Anywho, right, on that bombshell, get yourself some haggis. Don't put honey on it. You totally ruin it. I've had honey on pizza before. It goes great with pepperoni. Yeah, you see, maybe, you could take some of the edge off the pepperoni that way, but why would you want to, right? Because you could just have something sweet on your pizza instead of the pepperoni in the first instance. I'm not sure if I think that's a good idea either when we consider it all in totality. Deep fried haggis with honey, sign me up. Okay, we're getting you signed up then. Getting you signed up there. Okay, so you're going to have to report for duty tomorrow morning. If you don't, you will be derelict and then taken to your local police station and arrested, and you'll get in a lot of trouble. Haha, all the best, everybody. Right, I don't know where... chat, scroll up. How do I scroll up? You have to scroll up. It's not me that has to do it. You have to do it. You have to scroll up and find out what was happening from Mr. Barry Basuba, who's telling you. Tracebud, okay. Pineapple and pizza and quit in the Discord if you disagree. Ah, I see what you're saying. Pineapple on pizza. I've got a better question for you, right? What do you think? This is a better question, right? And this is important that you get it right too. It's twice as important as I get that one right. Is what do you think about spaghetti carbonara on pizza? Okay, what do you think about spaghetti carbonara on pizza? And not just any spaghetti carbonara, curried spaghetti carbonara on pizza. Curried carbonara on pizza. What do you think about it? Okay, important question. I need to know the answer immediately. Immediately. Come on already. Never had that. That's not a good enough answer. I need a real answer. Importing haggis was banned because the US won't legalize products containing sheep lungs. See just how discriminatory America really is. When you get down to it, it's so discriminatory. It's just like Mr. Discriminatory over there. Is it Tim Curried? It is, yes. That's a no for me, boss. There you go. There you go. You see? And there was honey on it too. So I didn't tell you that. But I would have, had you said yes, I would have delivered it to you with some honey on it. And then you would have had to then eat it and be all like, damn it, I said this was nice. And you would have had to have made you eat all of it too. And then you would have been really upset. And that just teaches you were wrong all along there. And you were lucky I was nice about it. Right, so thank you very much. If you haven't hit the like button yet, I don't know. I mean, this show had everything. Literally had everything. We ended on curried carbonara. So if a long travel there from the monthly chart on Lisbon for sure, and we took a couple of routes through important cultural touch points there. What people make curried carbonara? I don't know. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But it jumped into my mind there as something you wouldn't be able to say no to. Tracepoint, have you ever had garlic bread pizza and spaghetti sandwich? What? A spaghetti sandwich? That's about as crazy as what I just said. We can't have sheep lung, but they are okay with literal poison and lead in our foods, Lamaus. Yes, you're also not allowed like non-pasteurized milk and whatnot. These are all strange conversations though that somehow have become politicized, so I'm staying well out of that. Poor Jimmy, we've taken him off course. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you very much, everybody. It's only America that are awake with me now. Thanks, America. Garlic, chili, miso, carbonara slaps. Oh my god, have they actually invented curried carbonara? My dad used to eat spaghetti sandwiches. Until what? He just he didn't like them anymore. Back in pancakes, true. Maybe his doctor said, look, you're going to have to cut down on these spaghetti sandwiches. We got Jamie monologuing U-Dog. Who's U-Dog? Dougie. Thursday at 10:30 p.m. is a wild time for Jamie to be alive. God bless. It's Thursday 10:30 p.m. sometime. Most cosmetics allowed in the US are also toxic. Yes. You shouldn't be eating them. You shouldn't be eating them. Those toxic cosmetics. We got to do, like, makeup's so overrated, isn't it? We got you, brother. Americans be awake as a motherfucker. My son used to eat spaghetti sandwiches with mayonnaise. It was horrible. It was horrible to see it happening. It's past my bedtime. Diana Stevens, get yourself to bed. Everybody get yourself to bed. I'm going to get myself to look at emails and see what work I've been avoiding, and then maybe get myself to bed after that. What time is it? I have to do this at 3:33. Well, I better not respond to anyone, or they'll think I'm crazy being up at this time. I can't spell trace spotting. It's because my frontal cortex is too small. Is that where we keep all of our words in our frontal cortex? Is that where we keep our words? Oh my god! Oh my god! Not true. I got a few winks yesterday. Right. Okay. No emails. No emails. I mean, that's the other thing. When you think about it, it's not even that late in America. So, like, I mean, anyway, I don't know, right? No excuses. And I think, as a community, we responded really well to that potential negative impetus. There was that idea that, you know, the ripples from these negative events in themselves can end up doing good things in the world. And I think that as a community, in all seriousness, that's what we do on a regular basis for each other. And then when we go out there into the greater world, the same thing again. And I respect and appreciate all of you. Thanks very much for watching. Hopefully I see you for more of the same tomorrow. And hopefully we get that 10th day above $1 for LivePerson. If it gets back down to 99 cents, I've got a lot of buy orders there. If it goes back down slightly lower at 88 and 80 and 74 and 64, I'll be buying at all those levels frantically towards the bottom there. And if it does manage to get all 10, then wow, what an achievement that'll be for the company. What an amazing testament to the future of the board's work, the turnaround plan, and everybody involved in this community. We've done magnificent things that aren't commonly seen on the stock market. The board, the activist investors, everybody who works at LivePerson really pulling together and making a huge improvement. The culture of that company is fantastic. The future of those people who invest in it could be magnificent. It could be one of the greatest stories ever told. And here we'd be watching it all unfold on one of the greatest shows we've ever seen. Thank you very much for being with me this evening. Hopefully I see more of you tomorrow.